Hey, what's up, and welcome to the Game Positive Podcast. It's been a little while since the last episode of the Game Positive Podcast. I think our last episode was the review of E3, which was in like the beginning of June, and it is, as we record, it is August 11th. So some time has passed. Not a lot of news, though. I think in that time, not much has happened in gaming at all. Just a little explanation. Right after E3, I pretty much went on vacation. When I went on vacation, I got sick, and it wasn't like I was dying in a hospital, but it was like I couldn't stop coughing for like 3+4 weeks, like a month straight. It was crazy, which made it difficult to record. And then Alex, I think you've recently been sick as well.
Yeah.
And then obviously in between, there's been some, just like, it's the summer, man. My kids aren't in school. The schedules are all messed up. Work has been crazy because I missed. It's all excuses, and a lot of it's just laziness. But that's effectively why it's been like, literally, I think this is 2 months. But we're back. We are back, and we're finally going to talk about a hot topic that I've gone through a lot of the stages of grief. And I'm actually kind of happy that it's been 2 months. Everyone listening knows what we're talking about. We're going to get to some news before that, but yeah, I think the conversation is going to be a little bit better than if I would have recorded the day of, or even the week or month of, because emotions were high. But anyways, joining me again is Alex from Season Gaming, also known as the Slayer Giant over on YouTube and Twitch. How's it going, Alex?
Pretty good. Thankfully, like, I'm feeling much better now because I've been like fighting the stomach flu over the last 2 days. And I think, Eric, it wasn't early June. I think it was late June the last time we were, because I remember you mentioned your vacation. It was literally, we're waiting on the layoffs for Xbox. I do remember that. We were kind of like still a week away. So it's so funny that everything that's happened since. Like, I almost made a joke, you should call this episode the Game Negative Podcast, because that's literally all that happened, like in that full month. Like, what an apocalyptic July, but glad to be here. It's been a while.
I'm looking at YouTube now, it says 1 month ago, so it's not super accurate, so I guess we're under the 2 month at least. Just like spoilers, we're talking about the Xbox layoffs and the PlayStation nuke that they dropped. I'm finally going to give my actual take that's not just like tweets and private conversations. Before we jump into that, though, there's some recent news, in case you don't want to hear about that stuff. You want to hear about some more recent, more relevant things. So let's just jump into that right away. First up, I played a little game last weekend, a little game called Gears of War Eday, multiplayer beta. Highly anticipated game for myself, I must say, as a humongo Gears of War fan. This is the longest I've ever gone but in between a new Gears of War release since the first game came out. And I have vivid memories of all of those games. Yes.
7 years.
Yes. And it is a game that was quite literally, as they described it, built from the ground up. They claim to have started from a completely empty hard drive and built it from scratch effectively. Obviously, the lessons learned from Gears past are there, and like, it's not a brand new cast or anything like that, but it is from the ground up, brand new Gears game, and it definitely feels like that for the better, I would say. What do you think, just overall? From your experience?
I think it's such a great in between, I would say, because if you're just looking at it, literally, I was playing, my dad looked at me, I was like, why are you playing Gears 1? I was like, this is not Gears 1. Like, because he's played Gears of War before. So I think there's like a certain, like, it captures the essence of the art style of that original game, kind of like the grayish areas of things, that they have the right spirit, but when you have controller in hand, that's when you start feeling, oh, this feels different.
Yeah.
Wow, this is weird, not roadie running, like, or like sprinting just by holding 8 now. Oh, you can now have a jump on command, and now that's part of like your toolkit. Like, you can miss out jumps. and completely screw up strategies while you're like playing. I feel like it's very subtle improvements that you really feel a stiffness now going back to older gears. And I understand now why I said this is more of like a build from the ground up rethink of the game, because it's something to be played to actually understand it. I wouldn't say it's it feels super different from before, but I feel this is the kind of right evolution of iteration that you kind of want, because like playing 1 through 5 and even Judgment to a certain extent, it's all the same game. Uh, this is the first time that I like, at least like more it's more to the core. Even though I know 4 and 5 feels more arcadey, I went back to 5 just to test a few things. That game is like super like nimble, like
Yeah.
in comparison. But at least like when you kind of like the fundamentals of Gears have always remained 80% the same, and tweaking things here and there. This I feel is the most they try to evolve without changing, and I feel it's a good thing, because it's I feel like I can't wait to see more how the multiplayer evolves, because I feel there is some cool opportunity this allows for, maybe counterplays or different kinds of strategies, just by the verticality of it all. I am wary about Nasher Gate. We maybe can talk about that later. But overall, like I enjoyed what I played, and I can't wait to play more this weekend. Like I want to see like if they tweak anything.
Yeah, so it definitely feels new and fresh. I would say that the more of a Gears fan you are, and I don't mean like how much you like it or not or whatever. I guess I just mean the more hours and time that you've put in to mastering the mechanics of all the different Gears games, you will feel the differences like way more than a person who just shows up
Mm-hmm.
when a new game comes out, plays for the campaign, has fond memories. Like I can see where somebody like that is just saying, okay, it's a little bit different, but it more or less feels the same. When you're
Mm-hmm.
somebody who like is very deep in the weeds
Mm-hmm.
of the multiplayer, this feels like like completely brand new game. The movement, the sliding is adds such a dynamic to the PvP. They brought back like center screen aiming with the
Mm-hmm.
Nasher, and we can talk about the Nasher more. I don't necessarily agree with the masses opinion on that, but I can understand the perspective of somebody who, again, is like experiencing this for the first time, or is never really was like super in the thick of it with I guess like ranked or hardcore
Mm-hmm.
PvP. When you're just playing for fun, like yeah, you are going to get destroyed by a Nasher, and everybody's going to
Yeah.
have their Nashers out. Um, I
To
guess
me, it just confuses me, because obviously you've been more into like you've been more knee deep into PvP for Gears. Yes or no, is Gears 3 the beloved one for multiplayer? The
um
third one, 3.
I would say overall, Gears 3 is probably like
Huh?
most people's favorite. I think the best the multiplayer has ever been is like midway through Gears 4 when like
Mm-hmm.
ranked when they brought the escalation mode out. But that's
Mm-hmm.
like in the thick of it, like full
Mm-hmm.
sweat multiplayer. I would say overall though, just multiplayer, like the suite as a whole, like Gears 3 is definitely like what people look back on. Campaign as well, like Gears 3.
Yeah.
Gears
Like
3
the full
the
package is like a
full
10 out of
package.
10.
It had like an insane horde, a great campaign that was an awesome conclusion, had DLC, it had amazing multiplayer, it had the beast mode, and all the cosmetics and unlockables were earnable in it was just it's
Mhm.
like the perfect package in terms of what I call or coin like as a full game release. And you don't really get those anymore. Like nobody like outside of Call of Duty, Halo, Gears, and randomly Space Marine 2 from a couple years ago. Like you don't
Yeah.
get games like this.
The full package of PvE, PvP
Yeah,
together.
and it used to be often like the Last of Us was a full game when it first came out, and then
Mm-hmm.
now they cut multiplayer, and like that's common. Like they focus on the campaign or they focus on the multiplayer. That's typically how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Now, why I mentioned why 3 is the most beloved, because for experiment's sake, I went back to 3 and 5. Uh, 5 because obviously it's the most recent one, and 3 because of kind of like what I have heard. Like I even Google, what are people consider like what's the peak of Gears multiplayer? Because I've always heard like the Nasher's always been a point of contention towards like what people love or hate about PvP, and I've noticed that in 3 the Nasher is the hardest to use now in that game. Like you can still pull it up, but like just pulling it out is so slow there. It feels like there's more gunplay with different weapons in that game. Like there's definitely more Lancer play in that game based on how the maps are designed and even in the way everything looks. It feels like more people play around with weapons in 3. Even like if you go back and play it doesn't feel like a lot of people are using Nashers. Whereas if you go back to 5, there's a lot of Nasher play in that game, but also the Lancer feels very useful. Like I don't know if you saw a clip that I posted in our SG chat where I was like, I just kind of want to test that because it was like I don't remember the Lancer feeling weak, and I downed 2 enemies like in front of me, like super close, without like the perfect reload, and I'm like, interesting. It's like I see a double play here, and that's something that I was trying to put into perspective of what Eday is currently doing, where I feel like a lot of people are feeling the Nasher right now, especially now with the added sliding mechanic. People are sliding and like shotgunning you together. It feels like does this like more heavily pushes gameplay into the whole Nasher meta. And for some people, I know that's kind of like annoying that it all goes down to one thing. And that to me is like, I hope that's just slightly tweaked because I know there's something satisfying about playing with the shotgun, especially because it's all about you don't even aim. If you know how to like aim like over the hip and get those kills, there's something satisfying about nailing that. And it's all about who can pull the trigger first. And if you pull the trigger and you miss, you're screwed because the other guy's gonna get you. Uh, I am hoping that, especially with the new mobility, that I see more tweaks to other weapons because I feel there's such a potential for a diverse sandbox that's there. And I feel right now a lot of people, because they're so used to Nasher play, I I see people still doing the wall skipping and all that. Like it's like that's kind of traditional Gears, and to me is more. I just worry how much that will turn away people that maybe eventually get interested in these Gears and wants to come to play this and get turned away by the single meta. But obviously, like you're more and you're like I would definitely consider myself more of a casual. I dabbled in all the Gears multiplayers, but not like I made this like a lifestyle or playing it more often. I like to dabble in many different PvPs. I briefly and then kind of bounce off. So that's why I was like, it is fun. Like I don't know if you saw, like I got into a team that literally were like, okay, let's all do shotguns, and we decimated the other team in team deathmatch. It was like 11-0 in one of like the tickets. Like it's just so funny, and that to me worries me because like that gets still if it can only become too relevant on just one weapon. And I know there's certain tastes and certain like lifestyles of what people want from Gears, but that's also kind of like what confuses me because then I hear Gears 3 is the favorite one when it came to PvP. And even I remember Cliffy V made a point of making 3 the favorite one after 2 kind of like fumbled with like the server. I don't know if you remember that
Yeah,
2 didn't
launch.
launch. Yeah, launch didn't launch well. It still has kind of like server like host problems even if you try to go back now. And 3 really they did dedicated server, so they try to make it well. So that's why I was like, if that's the model, why isn't it model to this? But again, like uh what do I know? It's just kind of those are my thoughts. So,
Yeah, well, I
but
mean, even if you're not like a sweat lord in Gears, like your
mhm,
opinion is still valid because a lot of
mhm,
people are going to play it that way, like in a more casual way. I think that the Nasher is always going to be core to Gears. I
mhm,
think that it's kind of a weird mental like switch that you have to make because every
mhm,
gun, like the in Apex, it's the R301.
mhm,
In Call of Duty, you get an assault rifle. In Halo, it's a
mhm,
battle rifle, and like the default like way that you engage enemies is like mid to long, and like a shotgun
mhm,
is usually something that's like a specialized thing, and Gears
mhm,
flips that on its head. So the Nasher is always going to be core, and it's always going to be
mhm,
important. You're always going to want to have one. But where the Lancer comes in, and like full disclosure, I would say I don't think it's tracked anywhere, but I would say like 45 ish,
mhm,
like just slightly less than half of my kills in the beta, and I played like shit tons of the beta. Half of my kills are with the Lancer, and a lot of the kills my teammates get are because I'm also shooting them with the Lancer. Like the Lancer is the gun that I typically will have out most of the time because I have a sense of where the enemies are coming from, where they're spawning, especially when you're playing ranked, because ranked is only
mhm,
the domination mode or the territories mode. So you're holding a hill and you know that people are going to be coming towards you.
mhm,
So you can hunker down with the Lancer. And once they get to you, they're already like damaged and
and
weakened.
I wanted to emphasize that I definitely found better use of the Lancer in the Conquest / King of the Hill mode, because your team is together. Because like when you're in team deathmatch, everyone's kind of spread out trying to get their solo kills and all of that, and that's why I like that. Then it just
Yeah.
became Nasher Fest, and then I noticed that the Lancer right now is really good for team shotting. Like if for real, like I was playing with my buddy Paul, and because we're like, man, why does it feel like we have to rely so much on the Nasher? Let's try to team shot with the Lancer. We started getting, and it's like, reminds me a little bit of D2 year one of the team
Yeah.
shot, and also a funny quirk. And this is something someone pointed out. You can down an enemy without reloading your Lancer, but it feels like then killing a down enemy with a Lancer takes much longer.
That's
That's
the one
actually so
thing that
funny.
that's the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
thing I would probably change is when they're like
Mm-hmm,
DBNO and you're shooting them with the Lancer, it takes a lot to actually
mm-hmm,
confirm the kill. And I think that's by design, like they want to emphasize like people going for revives and having time and whatnot. And I think that they
mm-hmm.
will tweak things. I think I've
Yeah.
like your opinion of the Lancer being like really weak and the Nashers being like all that's there. That's like the common opinion that I see online. So I suspect that they'll make some changes. It's just
Yeah.
if the Lancer becomes too strong, then you miss those close quarter engagements because you're getting
Mm-hmm,
downed across the map all the time. You're not going to be, it's going to be more people behind cover, and cover is super important in Gears. But when it's like turns into the Civil War, when you shoot
mm-hmm.
until you're about to die, then you cover, and then they shoot, and then you cover, then that like kind of ruins it. So there's definitely a
Yeah.
delicate balance.
Mm-hmm.
And like honestly, like if you don't like the Nasher, I don't think Gears PvP is for you, and
Uh,
that's
oh yeah.
okay. But the Nasher's not going away. It's going to be the
Mm-hmm.
primary gun in Gears of War, probably forever. And if you want to play as a Lancer player, you can have a lot of success, but you're gonna probably not want to solo queue, and you're gonna want to
Mm-hmm.
like be following your teammates and assisting them because the Lancer is like the like support weapon
Yeah,
almost.
I do think that the whole thing of killing the enemies with the Lancer when you're down and not taking fire is probably maybe the only tweak that's needed, because I feel that's kind of like what was messing me up. That it never felt like I got a kill because of that, or it took forever. Where it's like, when I started noticing, I was like, that's probably the only thing I need to tweak. The rest feels like it's fine in like in those competitive modes. And I say I love playing Conquest. I adore playing it because there's something that not even having to communicate with anyone. I love that everyone knows what they need to do, and I love getting everyone like together, knowing like that you're all there. Something then I love especially throwing the smoke grenade when they're in. Red Dead Lancer is like, who's coming here? And
Yeah,
when there's someone like, I had someone trying to slide shot me, and I already had that rev, and I got him. Like, he couldn't
yeah,
get me. Like, well, it's just like, oh, that is so satisfying. It's like that. Like, those are the kind of plays that are fun. So I feel like they are just a few tweaks away. I feel for this to be fine. Like I think the netcode was fine. It ran like never crashed on me at all
nope.
in none of the matches that I played. So I was like, they're just a few tweaks away for this being like really super solid, and I can't wait to see more of the modes too. Because if I can just queue to doing conquest, because you can do that in other gears, like I'll be a happy man, because I love playing conquest, because I feel like it isn't even that sweaty of it. It's just so very concentrated that I feel like I get the full suite of the combat there. Whereas in team deathmatch, I that's where I started feeling more of the, yeah, this is shotgun mode. So
Yeah, I play Conquest like 24/7. If you do ranked, it's
mhm,
only Conquest. There's no TDM in ranked, at least in the beta.
mhm.
And
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty much
quick
all I
play.
played. Yeah.
Yeah, I quick played. So it was like mercy of voting between team deathmatch and conquest. So
Yeah. And no, I mean I loved it. Like I said, I didn't solo queue either. Like I had a buddy
mhm,
I played with every time. I played a bunch with Ains as well. And our buddy Pampa. So we had like full squads a lot of the
mhm.
times. We've only you
Oh yeah.
sometimes you get matched up and the other teams like their entire squad, you can just tell from like their names that they are definitely from Mexico. And you're
Oh
just
yeah.
like, oh no.
No,
And
I
then they
went
just
12-0
destroy
against
you.
the Mexican group. So it's like, yeah, that's still true. It's so funny that that's still so true with any
Yeah.
PvP. As soon as you
It's
see a Mexican name or a Mexican flag, it's over. You know that you're like at
yeah. I
a
don't
severe
know.
disadvantage.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't. I honestly have no idea. But for some reason, this game just clicks with that country, and their players are just like on another level. They're just like gods at this game. So
Hmm.
I don't know if they'll do it in this, but in most Gears of War games, you can like you have like a custom emblem. I'm sure that
Hmm.
they'll do it here, and like some of the options are like country flags, and so you'll just match up and it's just like four Mexican flags. You're just like, okay,
You
well,
know why I feel that game like clicks so well, especially because I remember this back then. Like Dom Santiago, like I feel that he was such great representation of a Latino. And Gears was one of the few games that was properly dubbed in Spanish. I played it in Spanish the first time, like
oh
full
really,
on
like
Spanish,
full,
like
okay,
full on Spanish dub. Like I used to play them like that. I'd be like, getting kicked was like that's interesting that you can actually play a full dub. Eventually, I moved to full English because I wanted to get better at English, but Gears, like Gears One and Rainbow Six Vegas both had like full on Spanish dubs in 2006, and that was super rare. Even Splinter Cell, like Splinter Cell, starting from Chaos Theory onward, they had full Spanish dubs too.
okay,
So I
that's
was like,
interesting.
so that was like cool. Like I thought cool is I get to play it on my language, and I remember like Gears was one of those, and that makes more sense why like so many Mexicans would like feel more taken to that because it was a proper Spanish dub. It had a legit like character that looks like a Mexican. Like I'm sorry, he really does. They're more dark skinned than I am,
Yeah.
so that's why like that's probably why.
Yeah,
So
well, they're like hats off to them. They are so good at this game, and I'm afraid every time I'm in a lobby with one of them. Although
dude,
we did
they're
win against
so
some.
good. Yeah, they're so good in Tokon too. I fought against a few Mexicans.
Yeah.
I had no prayer. I had literally no prayer. So,
Quick shout out to the horde mode. You may have played it more than me. I played
mhm,
a few. I think I'm like maybe 4 or 5 rounds of
mhm,
Siege. I think it's really it's like
mhm,
honestly, if this was, I think the plan originally was the first week was just going to be horde and the second week was going to
mhm.
be PvP, and they ended up switching it. But had they had not switched it, I would have played just as much Gears on the weekend because the horde mode's fantastic.
I'm
It's
so
just
glad that it was both. It was so good. So getting bored from one, switching to the other. Be like, okay, I've had my fill. Let's go switch back. So.
Yeah. So actually, I think there's two or three different ways to play Horde. I only played it in the Siege mode, and the Siege
Mhm,
mode is pretty much like Helldivers. Like you spawn
mhm.
in, there's something that you're supposed to do, but there's a bunch of other stuff you can do that could help you. Either just with the meta progression or within the match, they throw so much at you. I think that the progression seems like it's going to be quite important because I did try to play on I think it's called Commander, which is probably not the
Mhm.
highest difficulty, but that's the highest available in the beta. And you just get destroyed. So I was playing mostly on the middle difficulty. I think it's called Infantry, and yeah, a little bit spoilery because there's definitely, well, I mean, I'm assuming there's probably going to be some moments in the campaign where some of these new enemies are introduced in a cool way. And now I've seen them and fought them. So it might take a little bit away from that if you are coming into the free beta and you don't
Mhm.
want any spoilers. Maybe stay away from it. But it's very fun. And the fact that you can like run up on a team that's in trouble and help them out, it
That's
just,
the coolest part. Yeah.
yeah, it makes it feel more alive. Like that's something that separates it, I think, from Helldivers. Um, yeah, it's just a blast. Like I think that this is a real kind of way to fully jump into the Gear sandbox because you
Hmm.
can have access to everything. And that's not even including, like, I didn't progress very far, but I looked through the trees and you can really kind of change how certain weapons function and how like they perform. And it just seems like there's a lot of diversity there and a lot of depth.
Now, do you like having to run over like the little electricity things every time you kill an enemy? That's like the one thing I'm like, was that like that in Gears in previous ones? Because I haven't played Horde in a while.
Uh
Weren't you getting like money just by getting kills before?
in Gears 5, you definitely had to. One of the characters, like one of
Okay.
the classes, like that was like their specialty was that they were better at doing that. I think they maybe gained more from it or
Hmm.
something. It just forces you out of cover a little bit, but usually you don't do that until after the wave. In older Gears, it wasn't there because in older Gears, there was nothing. It was just like enemies come and you kill them. Like that's what it was in
Hmm.
Gears 2. Gears 3, you could hunker down a bit with some different add-ons. I heard some people complaining that there wasn't as much of that in this, and there isn't, but there's still quite a bit of ways that you can
Yeah.
like shore up your defenses with different things you can buy.
We haven't seen everything yet. From what from what I understand, there's still a lot that they haven't given us. So
Yeah, and there's one map in the beta, but there's 2 maps total, so there could be some differences in the maps and how they function, how they play. So we don't really know. And this is an evolving game too, so just
mhm,
because it's not like that or doesn't have everything at launch, it could get more. Even though I do think this is going to ship with a really complete
mhm.
package. But overall, I thought Horde was just super fun. I probably spent 85-90% of my time in versus, but that's just my preference. I actually haven't, I've heard people complain about versus in different ways. I haven't heard anyone complain about Horde. So
Yeah, Horde seems like super like universally positive. And I before I really dove into really liking just Conquest, I thought I was like, yeah, PvP is probably not gonna be for me, but thank God for Horde because once I'm done with the campaign, which is always like my number one star every time I come to a Gears game, like Horde's where I'm gonna kind of like remain, especially since I like Helldivers a lot. But yeah, like I feel they really have a really solid package, and it's now just waiting to see if they nail the campaign. I want to see if they nail like going back to Eday, having a reason for going back to Eday beyond. Oh yeah, we need Dom and Marcus back like together because those are the boys that people love. Like I want to see
yeah,
like if there is a reason beyond the nostalgia member berries because the thing of doing member berries for me is like it's cool in the moment, but then when you go back to that and when you start realizing what was the reason for this beyond that is then starts feeling slightly hollow. So I'm hoping that there is like a they find that core that makes it be like, yeah, it was worth it for it instead of being like break glass in case of emergency because people are not happy with the direction of 4 and 5 because we left in a stupid cliffhanger that we cannot pick which is the right ending there. But I'm
yeah.
excited because the beta reminded me, was like, gosh, why were we so long without Gears? And why was our recent taste for Gears a really bad version of one with Reloaded?
Why
Like,
were we so long with follow? Why were we? We'll get into this stuff in
uh-huh.
Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
We'll get into this stuff
exactly.
later.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think campaign just super quick. We'll move on. I think they're set up for success. I think they have the characters everybody loves. I think that being taking place on E-Day is going to, and then obviously after the aftermath of that, it's going to allow them a lot of unique kind of set pieces and
Mm-hmm.
different locations or even the same locations just dressed differently. It's going to feel more fresh because you're not just in this war torn city the entire campaign for like 5 straight games. You're in a live city that's being destroyed. It's kind of a different vibe. And yeah,
With
there's going to,
exploration, side activities, and all of that based on like what they told us
yeah.
at the showcase.
And it
So
feels like it's one of the bigger sandboxes too in terms of
yeah.
what you're fighting against and what you're fighting with. So I think they're set up for success. I know even if the campaign, and I don't predict this, but even if the campaign was bad and Horde like ends up not being good, I'm 100% sold on the verses. So I'm all in already.
Yeah.
The rest is just kind of
I'd be
icing.
shocked. Yeah, I'll be shocked if people are actually disappointed. Like I'm legit gonna be shocked if this doesn't like review great. Let's put it. I feel like it's a like this. The closer I'm feeling, the strongest. There is something like there is something here. It's kind of like, well, to be fair, I was very excited for Halo 5 until then I played the campaign. I was like, oh man, because there was like no sign that that thing was gonna be what that was. But I was feeling super like excited heading into that because there was no sign, and I'm not seeing any signs to doubt this one beyond that whole like. I'm glad that it's back to the characters, and I just want to see like what the story justifications of them giving us E-Day now is like versus other times. But I
Yeah.
feel gameplay wise, I don't think it's gonna be a problem. Like gameplay wise, I'm sold. So
Yeah. No, I have high expectations. But yeah, that's the Gears E-Day beta. It's coming back on. I think it's actually available for preload now. Even if you didn't
mhm.
pre-order, like the open beta is, and I believe
Yeah,
it
in
goes
2 days.
live on Thursday. I don't remember
Hmm.
the time, but yeah, you'll be able to play this weekend. Versus and Horde. I think they might be adding a new map to Versus as well, or a new mode. I believe something like that.
Yes.
So even if you did play last weekend, check it out again and make sure you get all your challenges completed because there's some unlockables that carry over to the full game. I think I have them all. Maybe I think there's a Horde one. Play 8 Horde rounds. I don't have that, but I have everything else.
And real quick, where do you play this on?
I was jumping back and forth between Xbox and
Mhm.
PC. This game is pushing Unreal Engine. Like this is the best implementation of Unreal Engine that there exists so far. This is the most advanced like Unreal Engine game that so far that exists. Like they're taking advantage of all the new features. It's very well optimized, but it is still like cutting edge. So I think that it performs surprisingly good on Xbox, but it's definitely not like locked 4K native 60 FPS. Like you are,
Yeah,
it's
we
gonna
got
be
confirmation. It's 1000p in on Xbox, which makes sense because
yeah,
Unreal Engine is so taxing and resolution. Because Unreal Engine UE5 makes up the resolution deficits with like the upscalers and like the lumen tech and all that. This feels like it's using that, but the thing that matters is that it doesn't look blurry and it doesn't look smudgy. So it's like
yeah,
even if the native resolution is not there, like it still looks really great on a 4K on a big 4K TV. And it's like goes to show that something it has to go beyond just native resolutions. And it is a looker. Even though like for the naked eye, people will be like, "Why are you playing Gears One?" Like
yeah, yeah. I
so
think that
fun.
if you have a Series X, you're fine. I think a Series
Mhm.
S might be. I think it's like
Yeah.
5 something p on.
Mhm.
I don't. Maybe if you have a 1080p screen, it'd be okay. I played
Yes.
it on Xbox, and I again, I think it's completely fine, borderline
Yeah.
great on Xbox. But I did play it on PC, a recently upgraded PC, and it is
I'm gonna
disgusting.
test. Yeah,
It's
I'm
so
gonna
good.
test. Yeah, I'm gonna test it on my brother's 5070 this Thursday. Just for shits and giggles, I want to see how it looks there because he has like a 240 hertz like OLED panel. He has a 5070, so I want to see how it looks there. So
Yeah, I think they'll be very similar to what I have. I have the same spec monitor,
mhm.
pretty similar computer. It's yeah, I loaded into like the training camp or whatever just to make sure like my settings were like set up properly and whatever. And I was just staring at it, just like I can't believe how good this looks and what the frame rates were. It was yeah, it was pretty wild.
It feels good to have Gears back and it have that kind of response in the visuals because that was Gears' identity from one to especially one. For people go
Oh yeah.
back, look at what people like. That was the thing that like caught everyone's that. That was the next gen game. That was the game that I was like, this is why we're getting new consoles. This is what this can do. Then Assassin's Creed One came out later to be like, this is what new gen consoles can do for gameplay now. But like visuals was like Gears. So I always use Gears as like a next gen reference, and I don't feel 4 and 5. They were great looking games, especially 5, but I don't feel they were like put in that same pedestal. I was like, man, that feels like it made Gears miss a big part of its identity. And I'm glad that Eday is kind of like recapturing where a lot of people are like, that is a looker, like especially
Yeah.
after the Unreal showcase.
The
Like,
power delta for that gen of consoles, like base Xbox One especially, was just not
mm,
the same as 360. I will say though, when next gen launch, like Series X, PS5,
Gears
nothing
5 looked.
nothing looked better than Gears 5 on the Series X at launch. You could make an argument maybe for Demon Souls, but I would still
Mm,
pick Gears because the Gears environments were so much bigger. Especially Hive Busters, like and that's what it's supposed to be. But obviously it was a last gen game, up to
mm.
whatever. But
It makes me
anyways,
wonder. Imagine just real quick if things had been flipped and Gears 5 was the launch, like base Gears 5 was the launch game for the Series
dude, it
X.
would have been a
What?
completely different story. It's the same thing
Yeah.
happened with Xbox One. What if Halo 4 was
Was
delayed 1 year and was a launch title? It would have been
uh
the completely different story.
yeah.
Imagine if it came out with a beta for Halo 4 in 2012, and everyone's like, you probably shouldn't do Ordnance. We don't like it. It's too much like Call of Duty. And then they changed it before it came out, and everybody hated it. And it was a
Mhm,
launch title for with back and pat, sure, have the cross to do it, whatever. Anyways,
mhm.
I'm not getting into
Yeah,
this right now.
exactly.
uh,
Yeah, but
let's get through some of these news topics super quick. They're not very long,
mhm.
like this discussion was. I want to do a quick shout out to The Big Walk, the new game from House, the
I played it.
developers of Untitled Goose Game. Yeah, I think Travis mentioned that you were playing with
Mhm,
him on Bitcast. I haven't played it yet because I haven't like secured a group to play it with. But it is the highest rated game of the year so far. I think the
mhm.
score dropped 2 points, so it's technically second place, but the first place game is like some obscure Switch game with only 9 reviews. So it's
Yeah.
not very, I don't think that counts. This game is blowing up, over 1 million copies sold. Some quotes here from the gamer who gave it a 10 out of 10. They say, I'm truly excited to keep taking my big walks, no matter the off-putting name of the Friendslop genre. This game is what you make it. And I believe each group that plays it will make their own unique kind of wonderful. Thought that was a nice quote. Insider Gaming says, not since ASHA bought in 2024 have I played a game that has made so much of an impression on me. In the hours I've put into completing the big walk with a friend have not only provided endless entertainment, but also further solidified that friendship, even if at times my co-op partner was left incredibly frustrated by my brainless moments or I actually forgot the rest of the quote, but anyways, they gave it a 10 out of 10, a
Yeah.
copy paste error. There's a lot of great reviews. I think it looks really fun. I'm actually a huge fan of quote unquote Friendslop games. I played some Shift at Midnight, Escape the
Mhm.
Backrooms recently this year. Both were amazing experiences. I actually want to play more of Shift at Midnight.
Yeah,
But
I want to
this,
play because I didn't realize it was on Game Pass. I was like, "Holy crap!" I thought when I saw it, I was like, "Heck yeah, I want to play now!" because I didn't know it was there.
yeah,
So,
Shift at Midnight is Big Walk
mhm.
skipped Xbox, which is
Yeah,
yeah. Anyways, um, yeah, Shift at
but there
Midnight's
was
really fun.
announced at an Xbox thing.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to House. I come on, guys, get it on Xbox. What are we doing
Yeah,
here?
you announced it there. Why do you skip them? Like,
Yeah, something.
yeah.
We're in a changing of the guard, and some weird stuff's going on. But I think that this game kind of passes the Rubicon of the Friendslop genre just being goofy and fun to being like an actually like super good wholesome moment that's really well designed, really sharply designed. I can't wait to check it out. I just need some friends to play with. It's actually not that expensive. There's an intro discount as well. I think it's like
Mhm.
20% off for the first week or
Yeah,
so. At least it
yeah,
is on Steam.
yeah.
So,
And if you're not on PlayStation Boycott, it's the free game on Plus this month. So,
oh, cool. So it sold 1 million copies while being free on PlayStation,
hmm,
which is wild.
yeah.
So yeah, congrats to House. Get it on Xbox. Let's go. You probably made a decent amount of money this week. I
Mhm.
think you can squeeze it into the budget, hopefully. Even though, I mean, you guys should also take like a nice little vacation. You pat yourself on
Yeah,
the back.
yeah. They've been
Great,
working on this thing
great,
forever, man.
yeah, great,
So,
great job. Right quick as well, I thought this was kind of cool. A leaked email came out of Blizzard Entertainment from Joanna Ferris, the person that runs Blizzard right now, saying that Blizzard was reportedly the top studio at Microsoft in
this year.
this
Hmm.
last fiscal year, which is super awesome, and that's driven mostly by the huge success of the latest Diablo expansion. But more importantly, in my opinion, is the resurgence of Overwatch, a game that was
Hmm.
supposed to be dead, a game that everybody was memeing on. Overwatch 2 didn't launch well out of the gate. There was a lot of shakeups. The people were
Hmm.
leaving, um, and they managed to pull that game out of the brink. And I don't know what it's like today. Like it kind of ebbs and flows with patches, but
Hmm.
there's been a lot of times where it was actually like completely destroying Marvel Rivals in terms of player counts on Steam. And keep in mind, Steam. The players are split heavily between BattleNet and Steam, just on PC, not to mention the console players. So a huge shout out to the team that's working on Overwatch, and Blizzard's about to pop off in a couple weeks at BlizzCon.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's in September, right?
yeah, I
Like they're
think
doing it
it's
early.
yes. So I know for sure WoW Classic's going to be there, which is going to put them right at the front page of the gaming news, and then that's just one of
Summon
many.
circle.
Yeah,
Summon circle. I'm console. Wow, please give it to me.
I
I know
don't
that's
know.
never gonna. That's always gonna be my like hopium every time one of these comes in because they
Yeah.
blueballed us so much into thinking they're giving us that console. Imagine if ASHA is like, oh, how can we revitalize even more this like all aging MMO? Oh, people are asking console. Go on, like I can see that could even be a conversation based on how things have been going, like on
So
Xbox right now. So like,
modern WoW, I don't know if it would work on console. WoW Classic absolutely would, because it's a little bit less complex in terms.
demanding.
It's actually like, depending on how you're defining demanding, it's probably more
Like in control,
demanding.
like yeah,
But
controller more than demanding.
in terms of APM and like stuff like that, it's not as demanding. But in terms of the time and your investment, it is.
Mhm.
There's a lot of streamers that I've seen like level a character from 1 to 60 in classic WoW and raid Molten Core, which is like the vanilla like entry raid, all with a
Mhm.
controller. So it's definitely possible. I
Yeah.
don't suspect it will happen, but I do suspect that classic WoW will get revealed, potentially even like from what I can see from leaks and data mining and things, it seems like it's going to be playable, and maybe even a beta like Shadow Drop, or I think it's probably going to be released this year, which is crazy. StarCraft 3 is there's a lot of smoke behind that, and just a lot of stuff. At BlizzCon's always a great time. But yeah, shout out to Blizzard, best studio within Xbox last fiscal year.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm hoping with this news, since we still have a few layoffs to go through, I'm hoping that this is like at least keeps them safe. Because it's like, is your most like obviously there was an expansion for Diablo, like so that's because and when did Overwatch 2 turn into Overwatch? Was it this year too, or was that late last year? Because I know it was recent when the
early
change
this
happened.
year.
That
They did
yeah,
like
so
the
it's like
state of Overwatch in like January, February. They did like
so
this.
that's
Yeah, it was in replacement of like BlizzCon got canceled for a couple of years. And so to start
mhm.
this year, they had like the state of Warcraft, the state of Overwatch, state of Diablo. And that's where they kind of soft confirm classic for BlizzCon. And then that's where they introduced this like new take on Overwatch, where like I guess it's still the same game, but they drastically changed like the content delivery to instead of like 1 2 heroes a year, it's like 7 or something. It was crazy. They dropped like 5 heroes at the state of Overwatch.
I remember.
Yeah,
That's when
it's
I went back. That's when I
yeah,
went back when I saw that. So
yeah.
like they're doing so well that I'm hoping that's gotta count for something. Like, come on, please, like don't touch this team. There's other cuts you can do somewhere else. Obviously, we heard that the contractors were nipped over there in Halo Studios after Campaign Evolved. But I'm like, if you need
Uh
to still, if you need to cut, stay away from Blizzard right now, please. Stay away from Blizzard. Like they're actually performing. Lord of Hatred was loved, like even more
yeah.
than like more than Vessel of Hatred. So it's like they're on the up and up. I'm still kind of like pissed that it was like touched right when Revelations was released, especially with how good that. Do you ever play Revelations? That DLC is so good.
I'm almost there. I started the campaign again
Mhm.
for Dark Ages. I was playing it
Uh,
through on Xbox, Xbox PC instead of Steam. I got the review code for Steam for some reason. I don't know what I was doing because I could have just got it on Xbox and
on
played it
Xbox.
and played it on PC. It was like
Yeah.
a brain fart. Anyways, I'm gonna blame Ains for that. But I
Mhm.
bought Revelations on Xbox. I wanted to start over because I like to play on hard, and if I felt like if I just jumped into that, I would just get destroyed. So I wanted to like figure out how to
Good idea.
play
Good idea. Revelations is tough, especially with the new mechanic with like the
the
spear and all
spear.
that. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's so good. Like you love Eternal, and I assume that's because of the speed that Eternal had compared to this one. It's like the having the spear brings a lot of the speed back to
yeah,
Doom and mixes it with the more deliberate nature of like the shield the shield gameplay of Dark Ages. I think you're gonna love. I love Revelation. It's so good. It was like it made me angry because like why do you have to touch this team? I know that Dark Ages probably didn't sell well, even though you told us that it was the most played Doom at launch. Like that still annoys me that you said that when you know what that meant.
well, people that
That's
said
what it's
that
like.
are not saying that
Mhm.
anymore because
Exactly.
they are not.
They're out.
Anyways,
They're out of here.
yeah,
So that's why I'm hoping, please, Blizzard, don't touch them. It's like you need good PR wins right now. You cannot have now that we have this knowledge that they're your top performing student, you still want to nick them because like that just creates that endless death spiral
yeah.
of bad press, which thankfully right now we'll talk about it later. They're in a thankfully good position right now where it feels like they're being inoculated from bad press because a nuke went out on the other side
Mhm.
that's taking literally all the oxygen right now. So please don't touch Blizzard. Please don't touch Blizzard. Touch Halo
Well,
Studios.
may,
Don't touch Blizzard.
well, maybe that's why this email got leaked. Maybe that's
Yeah.
but
That's
uh,
people were saying that felt like a look how good we're doing, don't kill us, basically. A leak, but sometimes
yeah,
those things happen. So
yeah, super quick. I don't want to have a discussion with this, but with Halo Studios, that report about contractors being let go, and maybe
uh,
something changed. Maybe there's
mhm.
more info that came out when that first happened. I did some follow-up, like just my
Mhm.
own research, looked into what was happening. There was 3 contractors that were quote unquote laid off. I don't know if they're laid off or their contract was renewed, but this is typical when a game launches across all games. There
Mhm.
wasn't quote layoffs, because if there's layoffs, there's something in the
It's
States
killing
called,
your full-time employees,
well,
like getting
there's a
dismissed.
system called like the warn system, where if you lay out, you have
Mhm.
to notify. There's something.
What we saw
Anyways,
in Bungie, what we saw with Bungie when they're gonna cut the jobs at Bungie, the ones that were on location in Seattle, they fill up the warrant act that told us that it was like 292 employees like on
yes, I think
location.
it's like
So
if it's like a certain percentage of your staff or a certain number of people, you have to file this. Like, and I'm not going to get into the weeds of this, but I looked
mhm.
into it through LinkedIn, which spoilers, that's the source of this leak. And do you know who provided this source? Smash JT. If you don't know who that is, the original reporter of this Halo Studios layoffs that everybody ran with, the original
uh,
person who quote unquote broke the story was Smash JT. I don't think he
yeah,
even need to say anything else, but that's
uh,
where it came from. It was 3 people, and this is
yeah.
I'm anyways, and I don't think those 3 people should have lost their jobs. It sucks that happened, but
That's
when
normal for contract work.
when you're
That's just normal.
reporting this,
Mhm.
like directly after there was like real mass layoffs that triggered warn notices and all these things where hundreds of people were getting laid off, and then you use the same like headline for this, people think that Halo Studios just got gutted when it seems like it was 3 people. So
Mhm.
I just wanted to correct the record on that one. In terms of the rest of the layoffs, we could just jump into super quick with the news. Phantom Blade Zero is getting a state of play on August 17th. Tune in for the comment section. It's going to be awesome.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for
and
that.
we had a funny discussion about this in the Season Gaming Discord. Asha
Yeah.
Sharma is playing the Elder Scrolls. She quote unquote said she had a playthrough today. I don't know if she's using that term incorrectly or if they actually played through the whole thing, which I doubt. And she said it looks great. Obviously, she's not going to say it
And
doesn't look great.
the storytelling was wonderful, or something like that. That's what she said.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what she played.
Yeah.
She could have done. What if she did like the Bloody Baron quest line? I literally have. We have no idea. I just think it's really nice that the CEO is playing it, because that's something that typically only would happen if a major milestone is met or if there's some major progress happening. It's not something that she's not getting like a weekly build of it and playing it every week. Like, this is a good sign that the game is on track to actually exist and come out. And this Elder Scrolls fans liked to see a tweet like that.
I mean,
Uh,
after 15 years since Skyrim, like, and how many years? 8 years since the reveal. You would hope that there's some build that can be shown, right? Like, one would hope, especially 3 years after Starfield,
well, I think
main development. So,
yeah, we all agree that it was revealed way too early.
mhm.
It was something you got to understand too. Like, at that point, Bethesda was hemorrhaging like money. They were dying as a company, and they just
Yeah.
needed. That's why Microsoft was able to buy them in the first place. Like, I think if you go back in time, they had that like really awesome campaign of like Save Player One, which I think was at the Game
In 20,
Awards,
yeah,
and then
2017.
and they followed that immediately by trend chasing and jumping on live service games for every
Yeah.
franchise they had. So like,
Literally the year after. They had Saving Player 1 in 2017 and 2018, all live service, like
yeah,
train chasing for the next 2 years.
and none of
Garbage
them,
Wolfenstein Youngblood, remember that?
yeah, none of
Oh,
them really hit, and it was just like, yeah. So I think that was like a break glass in case of emergency. Hail Mary, we can just make a 15-second
yeah.
like video. Anyways, I'm not going to dwell on the past for that. I just think it's cool that they're
Mhm.
playing it. Matthew Ball apparently was playing it as well. He
Yeah.
he
He co-signed. He
he
co-signed.
co-signed. And so if you're going to go and say, oh, Ash is not a gamer, what does she know? Matthew Ball definitely knows a thing or two.
Yeah.
And he co-signed
Yeah.
it.
And
So
I know it's not the same people. I remember when Aaron Greenberg tweeted, "Halo 5 is the best Halo campaign ever." He deleted that tweet, but he literally tweeted that. I remember that. So it's like,
I
you don't
can
want to
confirm it was not.
yeah, exactly. But it's like that I'll always take grain of salt when an executive, because obviously an executive will always be in the service of trying to hype up their product no matter what. But at the very least in the news, that if they're showing her playable builds, then that means we'll see it next year, maybe. Like,
Yeah,
can
maybe
we
this year.
finally start seeing the game? It's like, it is time. To be fair, that means she's putting the money where the mouth is. What are the 3 franchises she said? We're doubling down on this: Halo, Fallout, and Elder Scrolls. And then what we recently heard happened with Fallout in this break in the middle of Apocalypse July, that is like doubling down on all this Fallout. That we got the remasters for 3 and New Vegas, a new Fallout by Obsidian. Fallout 5 is still it's up there. It's like at least we're seeing that a lot of these things are being backed by action. So it's like it is there. Am I still skeptical? Yes. I've been burned way too many times by this company over the last decade that I'm like, I can always approach it with cautious optimism and at least just try to see the silver lining of like, okay, we may see it soon. Will
Yeah.
it be good too? After Starfield, open question.
Yeah,
Conversation for a different time.
the Fallout
So,
stuff would have been something we definitely would have covered, and that happened
mhm.
in the thick of this
In the thick
hiatus.
of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
So,
Really good news. Like, yeah, lots of good news over at Xbox. Also some bad news. One thing I also want to say super quick, then we'll go to the main topic. I just noticed this today. Do you know Fable is the number 3 most wish listed game on Steam right now?
is it? That's good.
And the first
Like,
place is like shouldn't even count. It's Deadlock. It's Valve's game that's
mhm.
already released that everybody can just whatever. And the other
You can
one,
get in with an invite, right? Or like if someone can invite you from the
yeah,
inside, you can get in, something
that
like that.
doesn't count. That doesn't
Yeah.
count. I don't think. And then the only one above it is Light No Fire, which I think makes complete sense. That game is hotly anticipated.
Mhm.
It's the new game from the people that made No Man's Sky. Was
Yeah.
revealed at the Game Awards a little while ago. But for Fable to be like in terms of games that you've actually seen
Mhm.
gameplay of, that's the most wishlisted game on Steam, which is a
Yeah,
pretty
it's
solid.
pretty that's impressive because like Fable has had literally no footprint in 16 years. Like after Fable 3.
Yeah,
And I don't think the Fable 3 PC port was even great. So it's like
no, Fable 2 is not even on PC.
so the fact that that is like highly anticipated, it bodes well. And it's probably carried a lot by Playground cachet at this point, more than more than the brand, I would say. So
Cool. All right. Strangely, no one's reporting that Fable's the number 3 most wishlist game. Odd. Anyways, don't know why they wouldn't, but
yeah,
anyways, let's move on.
yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna rant a little bit here. I'm just gonna get it all off my chest. PlayStation. Okay. Get your popcorn out. So when I was on vacation, I was literally on an island. I get the tweet of Doom, and I'm not going to read what they said because a lot of what they said is not even true. It's just kind of gaslighting and weird. But effectively, the end result is that Sony is killing physical games. They are technically only killing it for PlayStation, but it's effectively going to kill it for everybody because they are like the
The main manufacturer
like
of Blu-rays.
runaway leader in terms of printing physical discs. Nintendo revealed that they 40% of their games sold are physical. They're not going to change at all, at least in the near future, and they're going to keep doing it. But in terms of discs, PlayStation's killing it in 2028, beginning of 2028. Why?
January 1st.
Yeah. Why are they doing this? I see people talk about the cost of this, the shipping, the main blah blah blah. It's not that. It's pennies to make these discs. It's not that. They want more control over their customers, and like I always bring up, the main driver for all of the decisions that they're making is that they and I quote what they said, their own words: "We want to monetize our existing users as much as we can, or more than we are." And this is a way to do that because they no longer have to consistently sell games below MSRP because retails like physical games are often cheaper, and they don't have to pay Walmart and Amazon and GameStop their share of a game sale. They can keep it all for themselves. That is why they're doing it. It doesn't benefit you at all. It's bad for you, in fact, because you lose choice, you lose control, you lose ownership, and you don't gain anything in return. It's also bad for Sony because they can't even make a tweet. They haven't been able to make a tweet in 2 months without getting completely destroyed. It is going to cause a non-insignificant amount of people, like myself, like Don from Season Gaming, like Ains will eventually when they actually stop printing games. It's going to cause a lot of people like myself and many others to just not buy games there anymore. I spend probably somewhere in the ballpark of $1,500 to $2,500 worth of money on PlayStation games every year, most of which are third-party games that I will not be buying digitally. It's not everyone. Physical games are definitely the minority I think that if you look at the numbers, it's somewhere in the ballpark between 20 and 30% on games that they release that have a physical option. 20 to 30% of those sales will go to the physical option, which is millions and millions of copies, billions of dollars. So it's going to end up being bad for Sony. It's not going to be a death nail. They're not dead as a company because of this, but it's, in my opinion, a very short-sighted move that's pissing a lot of people off. The ramifications that I can see happening, at least in the relative short term, is that I believe, and and hopefully I'm wrong, because this is not going to be good for the studios that are making these games, but I think that Wolverine will sell softer than Spider-Man 2, which already sold softer than Spider-Man 1. I think Laofe will sell softer than Ragnarok, which already sold softer than God of War 2018. And I think that Naughty Dog's next game will sell softer than The Last of Us 2, which sold softer than The Last of Us 1. And everybody's going to say all these other reasons why this happened. Oh, there's female characters. It's not Kratos. Oh, Wolverine. It's not Spot, blah, blah, blah. And part of that's true, but part of that's also because people are boycotting PlayStation. And this little chip damage is going to make this company, who has since the 2020 never had finished a year in double digit profit margins, just little chips away at that. I think it will slow down to some degree their investment in games like this, because they're going to stop. Like, if the next Insomniac game sells worse than Wolverine and the trend continues, um, it's going to result potentially in less spend on the games that we want to play. Sony is they specialize in making really high budget, really low margin games, and that's combining that with pissing off 10 to 20% of your best customers in terms of what they spend, and isolating, like alienating retailers who have to sell the box in the it's just like a bad recipe. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this, obviously. Finally, like what I am going to do, like personally, like I'm not gonna buy a PS6 that can't play discs, that can't play my PS4, PS5 games. That's going to cost over $1,000. I'm not going to buy that. At least, definitely not at launch, and that means they're going to miss out on a lot of Sony first party games. I still don't know if I'm going to get Wolverine or not. I am on the fence. I think it probably makes more sense to not have the physical numbers shrink. And I don't love that people at Insomniac, people at Santa Monica are going to like take the hit for this the most. Um, yeah, I don't know. I will say that I am like laughing as I say this, but I wasn't like laughing before. I am going through like I said earlier, the stages of grief. I was very angry when this first happened, and now I'm just like super apathetic. Like, I am starting not to care about PlayStation that much anymore, and I think that people are confusing the sort of like lowering of the amount of comments that they're getting on tweets and stuff like that as people like accepting it and being okay with it now, when what's really happening is they are just losing, they just don't care anymore, which is like way worse. If people are mad at your brand, it's typically because they really care and they're upset with something that's happening. If they don't engage anymore and they don't care, it's way way worse. uh One more thing I do want to say super quick, and I'm not saying names, and I'm not talking about you, Alex, or anybody, but I will say I think it is weird that there's some people, and I maybe the majority of people is accurate, that are like super eager to just kind of like agree with Sony and like share all these like weird stats that are like missing context, and like saying, "Oh yeah, it makes sense. This all is fine and good. I buy digital games," and they like none of this is good for the customers at all, which is what you are. And I also find it weird too, just like maybe anecdotally, because this is just my experience, but there's a lot of people who are putting a lot of time and energy in like trying to like poo poo or put down other people's like critiques or criticism or concerns over this. Like, someone would share, like, I saw today that the Stop Killing Games movement was joining in with the lawsuit that's happening against Sony in Denmark, and so many people are like like retweeting it and saying, "Oh, this is so stupid. Why do you care so much?" Like, well, I don't understand why so many people are playing defense for Sony. and just like accepting their fate, and just like letting these things happen with no pushback. And yeah, I get it. I can't stop them. You can't stop them. But it's so weird to me how people are just like so okay with it. I don't know. That's my rant. I'm not that mad anymore. I had definitely moved on. I haven't even turned my PlayStation on since July. I just bought a new graphics card. I'm having a blast. There's tons of games to play. I did shift all my pre-orders that I had, which again, hundreds of dollars. Um, anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm sure you might have something to add. I know that you don't
Ah,
buy physical games, but
welcome to the future, suckers. They're appealing to me. The 85% has been a digital bro since 2013. But all jokes aside, even as a digital only guy, this is a terrible, terrible decision because it eliminates choice. Simple as that. And it really sucks, kind of like what you were mentioning, that the they really like earlier this year when they were like, we want to monetize our existing fan base. That was also paired up with we're gonna stop reporting MAUs. Like we're moving away from that. Why would you do that? Because like
yeah.
there's a decline coming. And how does that say? Because they're trying to like squeeze. They're penny pinching to the highest bidder. Now that they have now literally nuked every kind of goodwill that you can have towards this brand and any legit conversation that you can even have around the brand because of this boneheaded decision.
One
Why didn't they go the Nintendo route and charge more for discs? Nintendo figure it out. Like obviously the ultimate goal for a lot of these companies is that they would rather have more digital sales than physical because they make more money. That is just basic truth. And it is really funny how a lot of companies have come out and be like, Capcom is like, oh yeah, not a problem for us. Like, not having this, like, we're make 90% of our sales digitally, and it's so funny coming from Capcom because I feel like they have delivered the coolest games to buy physically this year. It was funny that they
and
said that.
and just to interrupt super quick, the games that they released this year that you can buy physically, 20 to 30
Are all
percent
in
of them
this.
were sold. 20 to 30% of them were sold physically. That 93%, most of
Mm-hmm,
that, I think it's like 86 or 80 something percent of all
mm-hmm,
of their sales are on Steam, no physical at all. And the
mm-hmm.
vast majority of those sales are back catalog purchases, which are out of print, no physical at all. So if you this is for all these stats that come out there. The only
Mm-hmm.
stat that matters is you have to take a game that has a physical release and a digital release, and calculate
And
how many people are buying the physical version. That's how you can tell if it's
there's
worth
more
it
of a
or not.
percentage there. Like the splits always skew more digital, but it's like that's when you see that it's not as lopsided as like the data suggests it is.
Yeah.
Like what we heard at like for example, a game like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That game like single release that happened with digital and physical. The split was like 40% of the people that bought Rebirth was physical. So it's like there is still a market that is there. What they're doing right now is that because this I hate that I'm bringing. I'm sorry. I know you're gonna curse me for saying. I hate that I'm circling this back to Xbox again. But this is the move someone makes when they feel they have won forever. This is the moves that they make when they feel they have cremated their whole competition. They're in an ivory tower, and they can do all these moves, and everyone's just gonna bend over backwards, get the dildo in, and not complain. And that's kind of what we're seeing with a lot of these people that are playing defense for them. And that doesn't. And remember, this doesn't affect me. I've been a digital guy like forever. It was more convenient for me because that digital was cheaper for me relative to buying games here or importing them over here because of it was that or paying $50 more like
Imagine if
for a
it's the
single
reverse
game.
though. For some people,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
for some people, physical's cheaper by a
Exactly.
lot based on where they live.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of people, I think there's like 140 countries that you cannot buy digital games on a PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
The
Because
only way
there's no PSN. There's no PSN there. You have to kind of like spoof to it into a country that is there. Like it's kind of like the whole thing that's happening with Token right now. That it's like they made a big PC release. They made the same boneheaded decision that completely kneecapped them with Helldivers 2, being like, oh yeah, we are forcing a PSN ID requirement. Oh yeah, by doing that, you're literally killing 100 countries from potentially playing your game, and you're all about trying to like maximize your player base. That's the whole reason you're doing the whole in your live service games. You're doing PS5 and PC in the first place. So it's like it's all this like stupid boneheaded moves that are constantly being chip damage that doesn't really affect them right now because they have the market so damn cornered. And that's what always like pissed me off, especially like, how do you know that it's like people like me are not in control? Nothing pissed me off more this July than the protest starting, people canceling the PS Pluses and all that. What did happen?
Xbox.
A shitty Black Ops 1 and 2 port that is the most bare as minimum, a similar bare as minimum port like the prototype 1 and 2 ports they put out like 10 years ago. Same kind of quality. They like shadow drop those things. What happened? I took receipts. I saw the people that canceled the PS Pluses renew immediately to buy those stupid games that were already back compatible on Xbox. They're not even remakes. And they're like, they sold 11 million copies combined in July. 11 million in a month. The PlayStation right now has been invaded by the cancer that is the ball and gun gamer. The core audience that loved this brand for the unique first party, the core audience that used to love this brand, that used to invest in like the cool little things, the brand that birthed a lot of my favorite franchises, including Metal Gear, Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, like that birthplace for creativity, has now been over like superseded by becoming the de facto console. That they see these numbers and they're like, we don't care now anymore. It's like, this is our audience. And my thing with that is, if that is your audience, what happens when they leave? What else do you have? You're pissing away the people that brought you there. You're making your bed with the people that are clearly like the more modern, the more modern gamer doesn't care about preservation. They don't see the tangible value of a box. And that's the thing. Like, I'm a digital gamer while understanding there's a value in boxes. Trust me. Like, I plugged in my PS3 again. Like, thank God I found a $10 Singularity disc for PS3. I couldn't have it because that thing never came digital. I would have been able to play that without a disc. Like, that it's always been like the thing that I always appreciated about like this media, because that's a good way to preserve things. And yes, there's idiots coming out be like, you don't own content under this. What
That's
the fuck
so
are
dumb.
you talking about?
It's
like,
so
I
dumb.
own it. It's like it's like some people making like the most stupid, like,
it's crazy,
boneheaded arguments for these things. And that to me is like, it's so like, I understand that a lot of people are here to make money. I understand. And now at the same time, I have no sympathy for Sony because they're the ones that decided to, when their previous president, 2 presidents ago now, warned them, hey, this ain't sustainable. I know this is kind of like making our identity, but look, like the costs keep rising up. We're gonna hit a ceiling. What did they do? They sent him out the door, installed the marketing guy, and I was like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna spend even more, doubling down on this thing, and now we're gonna bet the house on live services because that's kind of where the money is. And we know what happened. Like, an entire half generation has been like down the toilet. So many studios wasted so much time like working on nothing, and so many studios are going to still put out games like in that space that are not going to do anything because it's not coming out in that saturated market where people are already entrenched with what they like. And instead it's them trying to fix the problem of fixing budgets, diversifying portfolios and things like that. What did they do instead? No, they're gonna make it up by squeezing the consumer more. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, it's why I laughed when earlier this year we heard that they put the edict that, oh yeah, we're no longer putting our games on PC because we need to bring the value back to the console. So it's like, bring the single player. It's like, and this is what I keep saying is like, okay, for 1 or 2 games a year.
Well, I think they moved away from PC
because
because they were getting rid of physical games. And when you get rid of physical games, now there's no difference. And like you had briefly mentioned it before, but in an all digital future where every game is digital, the two most important things to the customer is going to be choice and trust. If you are on a PC, you can buy your games on Steam, on GOG, on Epic, on Xbox, on Ubisoft, on Battle.net. There's even like 3 or 4 different ways to buy games on Steam and have different prices and shop around. There's a website called Is There Any Deal, which will show you all the different stores that this game's available on, the lowest price ever with the current lower, where it's cheapest. And it's all you have so much choice, and you're going to get better prices because of that. Right now, if I wanted to pre-order the new Dawn of War game, I saw it today on Fanatical. It comes out in September, I think. It's like $79.99 on Steam Canadian, or it's like 50 something on Fanatical, no tax.
There's choice.
I have choice. I can buy it different places. And I have trust because Steam has been doing right by the customer for decades. And no one trusts Sony because when they made this announcement, they also announced that they're just removing hundreds of movies that people bought from them. They're killing the PlayStation 3 store and they're killing the PS Vita store. No, and they just had like people's accounts are getting hacked because they tweeted that they bought a game. And like huge content creators like Colin Moriarty are losing their accounts, not to mention all the little guys that are losing their accounts.
Easy social spoofing, like it's like they're secure. It's like they're trying to make a move. There's something that like someone like Moore's Law as they was saying is like they're trying to make the move that would have made sense 2 generations from now. They're trying to like force it now, and they don't have the structure and the goodwill to like pull it off now. And it's like I feel a lot of these people that are like going to bat for them. It's like they're literally just sheeps heading into slaughter because it's like here's something also kind of like the thing that also I feel it's gonna be like a great Schadenfreude. This feels like the opportunity for Steam and also Xbox to flaunt how much better they are at actual digital at securing your actual digital libraries than they are, because it puts them now all in a even playing field. What was PlayStation advantage that they just willingly decided we don't need it anymore? The fact that they had the better physical option from the two, because it was on PlayStation where the majority of those games were on disc compared to the Xbox that were just that were just like install keys. That became a thing. That's why I was laughing that you were buying the discs for the Xbox, because I was like, you're just buying you're buying some of the coasters, but I know it was I know why that was it, and now knowing what's happening because they're massaging things better, that's seeming even like a more astute choice, because then we got the other guys in the other side at least understanding where the future is going, but at least knowing how to better transition you that way, whereas PlayStation was like, no, we're changing to discs. If you bought disc, we're not going to tell you those things are coming with us. Just know that we're just going where the markets are, and just know that we're still going to support the retailers by sending boxes with key codes in it. So it's like I'd say fuck Grand Theft Auto 6 for having enabled that, because it literally was the week before we recorded before GTA 6, by the way.
Yeah,
did that thing where it was like, it literally happened. It was like a week apart, no joke. They announced pre-orders alive. By the way, the physical won't come with a disc. It's just gonna be digital. Pre-orders went off the roof. Literally the week after, Sony was like, "Oh yeah, we're eliminating." That felt like the proof that they needed. And again, the normies just like literally walk into that minefield and ruin it for everyone there. And it's like, it's so. This is why I tell you, the casual market are the scum of the fucking earth, and I would hope if they could get burned at the stake. But unfortunately, they're also the thing that makes them money. But at the same time, that casual market, they're also pretty fickle. You have them once, and then they can move easy, like somewhere else. As what happened to Xbox, they had that market on the 360. Yeah, they felt they had it, and look how easily they got snatched away. So I think that's what I always keep saying. You don't make the moves just to appease that market, because they're fickle. Yeah, you always need to treat your hardcore right. And what they're doing right now with this whole disc situation is like they're just sending away the most like the more positive like voices for the brand, and it's just kind of undermines the thing that I always say. This entire thing, what I've always been dismayed by the PS5 generation. They don't talk to their consumers. They feel they're holier than thou. They feel I kept saying this over and over again. They felt like they're above everything. And even more so because it's like, no matter anything they did, it never seemed like they could lose. And I'm like, gosh, can you keep fucking up everything, literally? And nothing seems to matter. Like, an entire first party, like, one of the most anemic first party that you always have to kind of like pray for one game at showcase in the three they make, and it doesn't seem to matter because they're just the de facto console. It's like so annoying, and I feel this is finally this was the straw that broke the camelback of all of that, because it's like they felt invincible, and I hate they feel invincible, because that's the kind of move that a company makes when they feel invincible, and that's why I'm praying that it's like they're severely underestimating how much they're really pissing people off, and obviously they said in their fiscal like earnings, like when they finally had to address it, they addressed the elephant. Thanks to the investor that actually asked like this, that they're like, we hear, we know that they're very passionate, we hear them, and we're cautiously moving forward, but we hear you. And I'm like,
Yeah, I don't think
yeah,
enough
it's like,
time would have passed for any
mhm,
real dramatic anything like anything to show up. Like I canceled my PlayStation Plus, but I was paid up till
mhm.
November, so
Exactly.
nothing,
So it's like they're
nothing.
not gonna see it
Yeah,
until.
I think that if Sony is counting the Fortnite player or the FIFA player as like a customer, and then counting me as a customer, and then saying they're
Mhm,
equivalent, I think that's a huge mistake.
mhm.
Because like
Different spending habits.
you had
Way
mentioned,
different spending habits.
the FIFA Fortnite person, they'll easily leave if another cooler device comes out or something else happens. They'll switch to like they are ephemeral. Versus me or people like me. I'm not trying to like say I'm holier than thou, but I spend more. It's just a fact.
Mhm,
And the franchises that they own, which are their most profitable games, like just in general, like if you sell one copy of God of War, it's more profitable than selling a copy of Call of Duty. Like
mhm.
I'm
Fact.
I'm the person that's buying them. I am like dug in and like huge fans of these franchises. Like I am fully in, and these are the types of people that are the most likely to leave. You said the Final Fantasy sold 40% something physical. Like
Physical.
what's
Mhm,
stopping those people from going on PC?
mhm.
Nothing.
They
Uh,
might go now that it's multiplat,
yeah,
like with the next one. So.
I think that, and I know I'll get this question because I am like obviously like very against Sony doing this, and I'm like pretty lukewarm on Xbox doing this, because Xbox is going to do the same thing for what it's worth. Like they're most likely not going to have a disk drive in the next console. They just haven't.
I feel the fact that so many publishers are being like so unbothered by it kind of tells us that, and I feel that's what explains Positron a little bit more, where they understand that's kind of where it's going, but they're making sure that that entire library that you have behind you is like in the next machine. Don't you worry, it's
Well,
coming.
that's
And
the
not only that, it's gonna be accessible everywhere you are too. So it's like, and the release, like I feel that's such a baller pro consumer movie, even though that also calls into question. Is like, okay, it's like if it's also gonna be on PC, what does it mean for the console? Is it like an off ramp? But that's a conversation for
Well,
later for
no,
Helix. But it's like,
I was going to get
mhm,
into that as an off
mhm,
ramp because that's I think the difference is with Xbox. Like first of all, I have choice. Like if I buy a game digitally on Xbox, I'm getting dual entitlements between PC, handheld, cloud, console. So I'm incentivized to buy that on as a
mhm.
digital copy. Not to
Look what you
mention,
did with Double Seven First Light. Remember, you
yeah,
had dual entitlement there, and you had it on PC and on Xbox.
yeah, now I
So.
have a new graphics card. Now First Light looks even better, plays even better. Also, they are like you had mentioned it earlier. We can just talk about it. They're forward thinking, kind of. This is a happy accident, I think. But with Positron,
Mhm,
the physical games, I can now make digital. They also offer this thing you might have heard of. It's called Game Pass, which is
mhm,
it heavily incentivizes you to play games digitally because you
mhm,
can get them via the subscription instead of having to buy them a la carte. There's just so many different options. And in terms of trust, if you buy a game on Xbox and you play it for less than 2 hours and you don't like it, you just fill out a form and a robot gives you your money back. If you
mhm,
accidentally if you pre-order a game and then forget to cancel it on PlayStation and it auto downloads like the
mhm.
preloads, it's your game now. You can't do shit. And
Yeah.
so the trust is there. It's not as good as Steam. Like I have more trust with Steam. I have more choice with Steam, but there is more there. And they built this off ramp. Like Game Pass has made me play more games digitally. Dual entitlements across PC, like Play Anywhere, has made me buy games more digitally. I feel like I've gained things and lost things. On
Mhm,
PlayStation, it's just you just lost things. And this is why it's so frustrating. You kind of talked about it a little bit because Moore's Law is dead, talked about it a little bit too. They're just one generation too early. If they
mhm.
launched the PS6 with the disc drive, not like, yes, all of the things that I had pre-ordered, I would have still bought. I would have been buying all these Wolverine controllers and like I would have been full spend just as usual.
Yeah, that happened today, right? The
Yeah,
the plates and all of that.
I don't care.
Yeah.
But then when PS6 comes out,
It's like there's been so like in separate from the Superior Son, there's been a lot of cool stuff that's been happening in that ecosystem. The God of War Lawfare release date tokens out now. on
That's
PC when
another
it's like
emergency thing. When has a flagship franchise game been had its release date revealed at a Comic-Con panel question and answer session?
yeah. I mean, it
Anyways,
was a big panel that was heavily promoted. It's like
yeah,
there's
but
been
there's a state
release
of
dates that
play in
happened before.
September.
Yeah,
There's a state of play in September. Like, and there's the Game Award. Like, anyways, um,
yeah.
PS6. So naturally, every console generation going forward, the digital or physical share is going to just naturally slowly go down.
Hmm.
It's not going to go down as fast. I think we're kind of at a spot where the people that are holding on are holding on really tightly. But if they launch the PS6 and they launch their what's heavily rumored the handheld that is paired with it, and they offer you dual entitlements, you can buy Spider-Man 3 and you get it
Hmm.
on PS6 and you can play it on the portable. You have both
Hmm.
licenses just like they did with PS4. That's going to make even more people buy it digitally. And then by the end of the PS6, whoever's left holding on to discs, they are there's not it's just the critical mass to have this level of outrage is just not going to be there. And
Hmm.
it's an off ramp. You're giving them something, you're offering this dual entitlements, and you have that entire generation to think about how you want this to happen. It's not just going to be thrown out there.
So now, as a slight counterpoint to that, obviously right now the thing that's holding them back is the fact that, like, compared to Helix, that's a more open secret now that we know it. That's the next console for them. Is like they have not openly mentioned PS6. They're so big about next gen plans. If
Well,
the moment by the time PS6 finally is revealed, and and they say, like, if you have discs, we have an option for you to keep playing those discs. You just know that we're still not making them. Like, how would you feel about that?
if they came out and said we are going to sell like an external disk drive that plays
Hmm.
PS4 and PS5 games on PS6, that would definitely be better than what we
Hmm.
have right now. Because
Yeah.
I would be selling my PS5 to help fund the PS6, and I can't do
Hmm.
that if discs are just killed.
Hmm.
I that would incentivize me to buy the console, and which then would allow me to purchase their first party games on it. I
Hmm.
have I don't have any interest in buying digital games on PSN as my main way to buy
Hmm.
video games. I would much
Yeah.
rather buy it on Steam. I would much rather buy it on Xbox because that's where most of my library is. And I feel like if I buy games on Steam, like
Hmm.
they'll be there for, I don't want
Yeah.
to say forever, but for a long ass time. All those games that they just killed from the PS3 store closing, if those games
Hmm.
released on PC at the same time as they released on PS3, they're all still on Steam, unless there's some weird licensing things that
Hmm.
got
Like the
made.
binary domain, like binary domains, or
Yeah,
just kind of like weird third party
I can
games
go,
and
but
things
I
like that.
literally bought Binary Domain on Steam last year.
Hmm.
I bought the Fear trilogy on Steam last year for like,
Enslaved, Odyssey of the West, also
yes.
was.
So and then Steam carries with you from PC to PC, from graphics card to graphics card. So if I
Hmm.
have a new PC in 20 years, my Steam library is still there from 20 years ago. Like, so and they're not locked into a console or a marketplace because, yeah, like I said, it comes down to choice and trust. And if it's all digital, everything's equal, no physical, I'm going to buy. Which is funny because if they had physical, I would obviously choose it. Like, look behind me. Like,
Exactly.
and,
That's kind of like
and
the
I'm,
irony.
yeah, but I don't know. I think if they announced that, I would feel better. I would feel a lot better, actually. It still would suck that physical games are dead, but it would show that they at least give a fuck about me, the person who spent tens of
Yeah.
thousands of dollars on PlayStation in my life.
Yeah. Yes,
Um,
that to me is like the most ironic thing of why I feel that that initial message of them announcing that they're that they were not gonna be doing this in 2028 was, why is the reason why they had so much inertia from PS4 to PS5? Backwards compatibility, like literally, like carrying your library forward compared to, like, why was that PS3 and 360 transition such a crucial inflection point? Because so many of those libraries were not following you. It was a clean slate. So the clean slate was such an easy win for them, for people to switch to PS4 thanks to the legendary Xbox One like messaging fumbles. And backwards compatibility, obviously spearheaded by Xbox, because they were not going to care about backwards compatibility until Xbox actually was like, you know what, we figured it out 2 years later, and here's all this stuff. Look how that is building up and all that. And then that forced Sony to actually care about backwards compatibility heading into PS5, and that was the reason many people stayed. It's kind of like what I said. It's like I was entrenched in PS4. You know, I love the PS4 with all my heart. I like that. I love that console. I still felt like I needed to stay with PS5 because of my library, because that's when I started doing the digital library. But I feel like I'm in between a catch 22 of like, I build all this library, but I don't like how you're treating me right now. But it's like all these games are there. So it's like it puts me like between a rock and a hard place. What's ironic with that, with the this thing, is that if you don't address this, you're giving that easy offering for a lot of people to be like, sayonara, I'm out. It's like, this is staying there. Like, this is the last one that I buy. I'm moving forward. It's like, have you not really thought about this in your messaging? Are you so bad at PR that you have not thought about that little detail? Like, come on, like it's but again, it's like, but yes, you're not talking about your next machine yet because you still have a console to sell, you still have games to sell. I understand. Microsoft obviously are more desperate to move on, to kind of like turn the tide. It's like the similar to original Xbox to 360 energy of like, the quicker they moved on from that, it's like it was heavily beneficial for them. Like restart the conversation. So, but that's why I'm like, yeah, it's like I understand, but it's like, man, it's like it sucks that even the few good things that are happening in your ecosystem cannot even be celebrated right now, because it's like literally every post, what's in the replies? Discs. Instagram is hilarious.
I don't think it's ever happened before. I've never seen anything like this in my life, where like I've seen outrage obviously, but I've never seen it last this long. And there's no way you would ever convince me that Sony thought it would be like this.
No one can ever convince me that either. Like, especially like the Xbox One thing literally lasted 3 weeks. The reveal in May 21st, all the way until the PS4 was released, until they reversed it. That was like an entire month. This has now gone beyond that.
And it wasn't this bad because Twitter wasn't like this.
Exactly.
It probably would have been this bad if it happened in 2026, but I mean it didn't. So
exactly, it's just incredible timing all around. But it's like, it's so funny. It's like nothing that it can do. Is like the brand is so solid right now that nothing can feel like there's a dark cloud now. There's like a dark cloud that just and that bums me out, because there's still a lot of things to be excited being on PlayStation. That's still my main platform. Like, I feel tied to it having invested on the Pro, because that's still the best place to play a lot of the games right now. Like, I would have traded Black Flag for consoles. Yeah, if you're on PC, stay on PC. Like, PC is obviously the better.
I bought Black Flag on Xbox, and honestly, I feel it looks awesome. Like, I'm sure if you had a Pro beside me, or if I like watched Digital Foundry, it would look better. But
exactly, like if you can ignore the Digital Foundry comparisons, or even the chance of like what I was able to do, where I compared the base. I have a base PS5 still with me, and compared both. I was like, yeah, I couldn't not play it on Pro. It's like it is very notable. And the same thing that I saw with Bond is like, I know that's there. It just sucks that it's like the best way to play is right now the company with the shittiest attitude. And that kind of sucks. But it's like, and then I know myself so well that I like see, like, if I have the choice, I want to see it played in this best. Like, I even did the same with Doom, the Dark Ages, when they were like, oh, PSSR, new PSSR 2 is actually being updated. I was like, God damn it. And I ended up buying it there to play it there, even though I had it on Xbox. And it was, I could tell the difference. So, because I have a big TV where I can notice. And the closer you are, PSSR, like sometimes you actually see the difference. So it's like, that's kind of like my damned if I do, damned if I don't. It's like, I'm still playing there, but I don't agree with a lot of these choices. I did lower my PS Plus. I still have it though. But I went away from
premium even worth it? Like, they haven't really done anything. Like, it's very seldom that you get a classic game.
Premium, yeah. Premium was worth it for the streaming for Portal. So my Portal is just not. It's just
my Portal's in a drawer. It's gone.
Yeah. Right now, without that, like, your Portal is like literal, like it's literal paperweight now.
To be honest, you want to know what's funny? Like, the main reason why I love the Portal so much is because I could play my physical games handheld. And that's mostly that's mostly how I used it, was putting a disc in my PS5 and streaming it to the Portal. And that was the biggest selling feature for it. I had PS Plus. I paid for it because I'm an idiot, but I never really streamed from Plus to the Portal. I always played, like, I played a lot of Wukong through the Portal, and just stuff like that. And yeah, it's in a drawer now.
It's so funny. You're the one that told me the Portal when you told me that you played through Wukong through. I was like, it's that good. It's like it's the latency is that good that you could play Wukong on it. That's why I was like, that's when I know like it's those kinds of games that are like, oh, cool. And that was such an awesome day. Again, they have done so much cool shit, and they had to let the suits now at the top completely like get overtaken by greed now. And here's where we are, where it's like
Yep.
it left us with the most apocalyptic July of just parade of bad news. Like there's not no fun to talk about. Like it's the major competitor is still in the midst of the reset. I hate that they're in the midst of this reset because like what shitty timing. This would have been the time to really strike, but I know they're still trying to figure stuff out like behind the scenes. But
Yeah.
even feeling like the real impact will be when they finally talk about PS6. So it's like
Yeah.
unless they really message everything and suddenly things change. Like doesn't I doubt like they're gonna fully change since they started printing already in their PS5s that oh yeah, by the way, if you're buying a disc, this disc edition, just know that any game released after January, no more discs, but everything before you can play. So
Yeah.
it's like
I don't
they're
expect
already
them
putting
to.
that.
I don't expect them to change. I think they should. I think they, like I said, I think they should just have one more generation. But I don't
Mhm.
expect that. What I do expect, and maybe I'm just foolish for expecting this, I do expect them to like actually address it and actually say like we get it, like people are very passionate about this, like they actually care, and we know that this is hard, and we know that this, but there's X and Y realities, but we want to like do thing. And she kind of, Lin Tao kind of alluded to this, where she's like we have to like do
Mhm.
something for these
Evan.
people. I don't like
Mhm.
I think if she thinks like codes in a box is it, then she's kind of needs a reality check. I don't know
Well,
what they'll do.
uh, the people said yay to GTA Code in the box. It's like that's kind of what's so funny.
But it's
Like
GTA.
probably,
GTA could have been
yeah,
like, oh, we have a launch
exactly. They could do
feature.
it.
Yeah, you have to get punched in the face before you get a copy. They still sell 100
Mhm.
million copies. Like
Exactly.
it's,
GTA is the worst to use as the example because people are just gonna bend over backwards to deep throw
yeah, and
GTA.
you
I
can't
mean,
buy it on PC.
they're gonna sign up for Netflix to see the thing for 6 hours, like the gameplay reveal like 6 hours early. It's like
Yeah,
they're the only games that can do this. But it's
I
like
I
man,
think
it's like
that the
they probably use
ramifications.
yeah, considering how closely tied knit. Like you saw how they were promoting GTA 6 like crazy. PlayStation, what they were doing, they changed their PSN like headlines. The fellow was like, well, you're treating this like it's your own game. It's not, but it's like that's like the royal treatment you're getting. You change the icon of your app to be GTA. It's like that's how much you're treating. So it's like it really feels like they were waiting to see like okay, they want to do the digital thing on code. Let's see how it goes. Holy crap, they did how much? Oh, there you go, green light. People are okay with that. It's like it really feels like that's kind of like what happened, and I resent GTA 6 over that. And I was already not excited for GTA 6 personally, and that makes me even less excited.
Yeah,
No, it's like I've always said that GTA like it's like the microcosm of bringing the worst of the industry sometimes, like shark cars with the microtransactions and all that. Look where we are now.
yeah.
So
And then you
like
have like Strauss Zalman saying, "Oh, he doesn't think physical going away is a problem," but and then people point to that as like this is why it's totally okay for Sony to like these people, like the people that own Rockstar, the guys that
uh-huh.
are in charge of the financials at Cap, yeah,
They
they
are
make
not the
more
people to
money.
yeah.
They want this to happen. They make more money
Exactly.
if you buy the game digitally. They don't want to pay Walmart or Amazon either. So just because
Mhm.
they say, "Oh yeah, this is totally fine and nothing bad's gonna happen," Yves Guillemot at Ubisoft said, "I don't think this will be negative at all. I don't think." Yeah, because
Yeah.
he wants to make more money, bro. He makes more money if you buy the digital.
It's,
Like what? And then people are just like, "Oh,
that's why
see,
they're like,
this is
mhm.
totally fine. Look, guy at Ubisoft said this is not a problem. So obviously, me, the
Yeah.
customer, this is great for me." No,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, I feel Jason Schreier put probably the better video to at least kind of like explain some of the thought process that this feels more like this is the long belated kill blow. These people have been waiting for use games. Something that you remember how they used to combat use games with every kind of thing with the
Such a small
online
percentage.
pass. Yeah, like with the online pass. Remember the online pass era of the late 360 PS3 era, and it was like how digital was kind of like the soft solution where it's like, oh, more people started buying digitally, so it's like that took care of the problem of like the use thing,
Yeah,
and that just felt kind of like the final killing blow, be like the final percentage that was already so small at that point, but it's like that was kind of like always the impetus for it. That was the problem that eventually solved itself, and it's like, yeah, I can kind of see it. It's like at least it's more understandable that everyone be like, you see, like the big companies are saying they're okay, so it is okay. So it's
Yeah,
like,
no.
and remember, I'm the 85%. I have bought 1,000 games in this thing digitally. So it's like, and I bought a lot of games, and I know that, but it's like I also understand. I value choice. I love that choice was always there, and especially after what happened with Colin,
Yeah,
that thing was like the thing that was like the DEFCON 5 of like, oh shoot, that's like that's the danger. And these are like, this company that promised after the whole PSN outage debacle in 2011 that they were gonna get better at things, and they still haven't gotten better at the whole thing. It's just that the market swung in their favor. I think that's kind of like what happened. Is like
literally.
they thought they were gonna have to work harder, and it was gonna be a much harder fight. It just their competitor decided to like grab a shotgun and blow their face in front of everyone. Like literally, that's literally what happened. So they're like, okay, maybe we can be fine then. Let's leave it there because like everyone's kind of going this way. It's like that's why I'm like, man, imagine if they had another month long outage again. Oh man, you just imagine it's like they're like tempting fate. And at this point, I would be willing to sacrifice a month of my PS5 if the other consoles work, if that teaches them something. Like I'm not even kidding. So it's
Yeah,
like that would be like a good reality check of like, are you actually ready for this? Are you?
they're not.
Exactly.
I
And
know
we know it,
it's
they're not.
I know it's weird to group these two creators together, but like Schreier and the Act Man. But I think the Act
Mhm.
Man, the video he put out today about it sounds crazy to call it a psyop because it's not actually like a psyop, but there is a bit of that happening right now. And he goes into detail, and I thought that was really good. And you had mentioned him a couple of times already. But if you want actual coverage of like what this really means and what's actually happening with this decision, go check out Moore's Law is Dead. He's been the best creator I've seen talking about this objectively.
Mhm.
He's a
Oh yeah.
PC guy. He doesn't play consoles. He doesn't buy physical, but he's looking at this objectively, and he's not
Mhm.
like a content creator that gets all their codes for free from a digitally from the publishers and is like towing this line for. It's just so weird. Some of the commentary I see on it. I know that I'm not a big like creator or anything, and whatever. Like, who cares about what I say? But like, it just sucks, dude. And I think it's going to harm Sony in a non insignificant way. Again, it's not a death blow. They're not dead because of this. Um,
Yeah.
I would say that
They,
Xbox
they will
still
feel
has
it.
a better. Xbox has a worse chance of success than Sony even after this, but this is
Mhm.
they did it one generation too early. It's a needless kind of negative blow to them. It's going to be a cloud that they have to navigate through for like the foreseeable future, and it's completely avoidable.
Yeah.
That's my
And it
final
sucks
thoughts.
because it's like I feel that has really clouded this has been such a weird year. I know there's been a lot of great games that have come out and still are to come, but it just feels like there's just a dark cloud that makes everything just not it pessimism is not just the default now, sadly, and that bums me out because I love being positive about things. Like I always try giving benefit of the doubt things until like I need to destroy something, aka mind's eye. But like, but before that is like it just feels like that. I'm like, man, is like there's such pessimism that I even forget what have I even played this year that has brought me like
Capcom games.
immeasurable joy. And that was earlier this year, and now
Yeah,
so much has happened that is like please Onimusha save me
yeah.
like literally but it just feels like that and that sucks and it's like I know the last 3 years has felt like that is like the cadence of great releases finally happened after COVID but then like the bad news cycle started with layoffs and all that now this feel instead of layoffs they feel like more self-inflicted like own goals like right now like and this was entirely self-inflicted because it was like they did it out of nowhere it was July 1st and they decided to drop the nuke
Yes,
like
it
we
wasn't
were just
planned
like happy
either.
the day before yeah it's like
Retailers had no idea this was happening. This was not a
yeah.
planned. It was just
No,
anyway.
but they told their retail partners before. That's why they were okay. But
No, they
like
did not.
that's why like so that it's so funny when they said I was like, yeah, I want to hear it from actual
Yeah.
retailers.
I
So
think though, transitioning, what they actually
mhm,
thought would happen is that this next piece of news would just sweep away all of this bullshit that
mhm,
they were doing, and nobody would care. But that didn't happen because the
yeah,
Xbox layoffs were not the apocalyptic end of civilization that some journalists painted them as beforehand. Just
mhm,
a quick rundown of what's happening. I believe was it 1600 now, 1600
yeah,
later.
It's going to be
And
a total of 3,200, like
yes,
until from here until fiscal year 27 end
yes,
next
and
June.
you had talked about how we hope Blizzard doesn't get hit. I actually think that the remaining 1,600 is going to be mostly internal at Microsoft. I don't know
Mhm.
how much more game studios are going to get hit very big, because and we'll get into that in a second. But just another a full rundown of what's happening. So 1,600 jobs were unfortunately lost. 1,600 more to come within the next fiscal year. But no studio closures. Double Fine and Compulsion Games have returned to being independent studios.
Mhm.
Undead Labs was sold to a mystery buyer, which as far as I
Mhm.
know, we still
Same as Ninja and Ninja Theory too.
and Ninja Theory too. We still don't
Mhm.
know who they're sold to. And
Mhm.
then Arcane, they are going to be divested as well, but they're going
Mhm.
through like the French legal system, and we don't necessarily know what the final outcome is going to be or what's going to
They're
happen.
the most, yeah, based on the we understand the process, because that can be like a very precarious situation. There could be the only one that during this process could be shut down. Like if this goes like south, it's like it's the only one because of all the French laws and all that. But
Yeah.
the other ones got saved.
Yeah, and this has not, as far as I've seen outside of Jez, I don't think anybody reports this because why would you say anything nice about Xbox? But it was reported that the ASHA and Matt Ball and like the full executive team were working like double duty, flying across the world, making deals to try to save all these studios. They saved every single one from closure. Obviously, there's still a lot of layoffs. Nobody wants to see that. It's not a happy time, or it's not a good thing that this happened in most regards. We'll talk about that in a second. But the fact that they put all this work in and saved these teams, kept these studios open, I think that is actually a valiant effort. I think they deserve some credit for that, even though, again, this is not
Yeah,
good news.
exactly. Because a lot of people lost a job, but the fact that they handle it that way is what helped the other nuke to not be swept under the rug, because they massaged horrible news, because there's a lot of people that lost their jobs and are about to lose their jobs too, like through this next through this next year. But because before, remember the one in 2025,
Yeah, it was
like
just like
July
dead.
roll around, that it was just like an entire like nuke drop where Everwild killed, Perfect Dark canceled, the initiative like closed, all these people
Yeah.
laid off, like with such uncallousness, and it all, we're making more money than we've ever made, and all of
Yeah,
that. It's just
and
like
ASHA
it's
came
like
out and said our business
it's,
is not healthy. We are losing what is it,
mhm.
60 cents on the like
Yeah,
really
on the dollar,
transparent. And it was
on the,
and it was like, okay, then this makes sense. And then what the plan is, as far as we know, and there's like you had mentioned earlier, there's actions to support these claims, is they are focusing on the hits, which is a proven strategy. Look at Nintendo. There has been a
yeah.
Zelda game for every year that the Switch has been around. There has been a
Mhm.
Mario game for every year that the Switch has been around. There has been multiple Kirby games. There has been like so many of their IP just get
The hits fund the new ideas. The
yes.
hits can allow you the risk to fund a new idea, but you keep like feeding the core. That's kind of like what was always so frustrating about the older strategy of Xbox, that they just try to focus so much on the new ideas that then the hits that would at least cushion them got left out in the dust. Poor
Well,
Halo,
like
like poor Halo, only one game in 11 years. Like Gears dormant for 7, like Fallout, like dormant for 11, like
yeah.
Elder Scrolls dormant for 15. Like it's like,
Yeah, in theory, like when you talk about like Phil's plan, which was just like let the developers cook, they're the artists, let them make whatever they want and just put in like yes, that sounds awesome. But then when they decide to make games that are that they self-report and say there's no way we could have made this game or got this game funded without Xbox just letting us do whatever we want. Like they literally said that. I'm not going to go into
mhm,
details who said that, but that was said by one of the teams that are now divested. Like they
mhm.
clearly were their mentality flipped from we need to make sure that the project we're working on is financially viable because we need to convince investors to invest in our studio and we need to this game to meet these metrics or so we can keep the lights on. That process switched to we can just do whatever we want. And that's not like a slight against the developers. That's literally what Microsoft said for them to do. So they were just doing what they said, and
Yeah.
and they probably agreed to join Microsoft Game Studios because that was what the pitch was.
The
It's just a
pitch was, we need content for the service. That was the pitch.
yeah,
You're
and
safe
it didn't
because
work.
whatever you do, we just put in there, and that's and I feel that's like such a, you really understood, like this underlines to me that the previous leadership, like probably really didn't understand how to make Game Pass like a good financial like how can I say this? Like for like the money to become more self-sustainable, because we heard that there's some profit that have come out of Game Pass just in general, like was it like 5 billion and all that, but the thing is that
Yeah.
when that's the only thing that it makes based on all the content that has to be served and like distributed and all of that, like how does that become like sustainable? It just feels like they felt that just put everything there to make such a buffet is gonna like bring everything else. That's the security they gave the teams, and that is like, that's why I don't blame these teams for doing the weird ass shit, the kilns, the keepers, like bleeding edge, like this kinds of thing, because like they were just make building the content. But I feel what hit Game Pass is the thing that eventually hit Netflix and all these streaming services after the last strike in 2023, where now it's like they could do all of that because they were not being accountable. Are people actually watching this? Are people playing this? Or is this making financial sense? They were trying, and again, we know they were trying to subsidize so much to try to make things work. And eventually that rubber hit the road when we heard that it was like beyond the $80 billion that it took to acquire all these studios, 20 billion on top of that was to invest in all this content. And they were barely like making any money, like where they were losing 60 cents,
Yeah.
64 to 67 cents. I think it was 64 cents per dollar per dollar, and only like making like 3 cents. And they were like, what was the accountability margin? That was like 3%. Like I heard, like when you hear 3%, it's like, how are you in business? Like, how are you that bad? Like, how would
Yeah.
like that was like really bad. And I feel this unfortunately like forever paints that anything tried by the previous regime was just a failure. Like
Yeah.
because it's like
And
that's so much money. And I feel like the cult of personality that formed around the previous Xbox leadership was trying to hide a lot of that. And it's unfortunate that now that when we, like Asha came in here as the mom, be like, no, time to here's the belt, here's the reality
yeah.
check, here's the, and it's like that's why I feel a lot of people are like understood it more, and the blame was shifted to the previous leadership because it's like they try to gaslight everyone, be like everything's fine when it wasn't fine. And it's
Yeah.
like that, and that eventually ran out. And I feel I credit Archer. It's a tough road. It's a tough road on top of like a lack of trust now that there's in the brand, because we were always being told one thing, and it's like it slowly has to be like built now. And it's like sad. It's like a sad end to the Phil Sarah Bond like regime, where I always said that I always appreciated what Phil Spencer did to rescue Xbox post the blunder of Xbox One to try to get it back in fighting shape, but his reign lasted too long, let's say, into like a point where now like its legacy is now tarnished, where it's like now
Yeah.
everyone is like F Phil Spencer, because like look what you ended up doing. Like it put us all in this precarious situation where it's like, yeah, it's like sad, but that's the reality. But
Yeah.
I feel I credit Asha for at least being honest. Honesty works,
Yep.
even if it's painful, but it works.
Yeah, and her decision
So
making so far, it's still early, obviously, but I think
mhm.
she's doing a lot of good stuff. It's pretty eye opening how much she's able to do in such a short amount of time. Like things that
We're
people
getting platinum trophy equivalent now. How long have people have asked for that?
forever, like since
Like
PS3.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like
Backwards compatibility on PC, achievements to OG Xbox games. Like
look,
she's delivering on a ton of things.
look,
And it's
we
not
didn't even talk. Like, Conquer on PC. We tried it. Like you tried it on PC. It works so well.
yeah.
Like what they're doing is like, holy crap! Like was that really like the backward compatibility thing? That doesn't scream to me as something that just recently happened. Like that must have been something that was at work like in also in previous regime, but it's like what a win for her for that to come in now, because it's like it just keeps adding to like like the string of wins that they kind of need to engender that kind of like positivity that
Sh-
you kind of need in a battered brand right now that feels like has no future.
when she
So
when she started, it had been, I think, 13 or 14 months since the last dashboard update, and she has dropped an
mhm,
update every single month since she started. Not, I mean,
mhm,
she's not doing it, obviously. You get,
yeah,
but like since she started, we have been getting features, we have been getting updates, we have been seeing drastic changes with like, things like exclusivity, backwards compatibility, platinum trophy. Like she's just doing it. Like it's still early days. There's things that still have to be delivered, but
it's
she
still small wins. It's
yes, it's
tiny wins that
all
just
good
keep
news so
racking them
far.
up.
I can't think of any major people point at things like, oh, she like retweeted Mr. Boomstick, what like
Un
if that's
secretato.
all you have to point to be like to try to like shine some negativity on her reign so far, like it's pretty sad. But anyways, and she has plenty of time to mess up. Trust me, there's tons of things that
Yeah.
could go wrong. But right now, I think Xbox is in good shape. I don't think that. I mean, as sad as it is that these layoffs happened, I don't think this was the apocalyptic nuke that
Mhm.
was going to kill
Yeah.
Microsoft like people said it was going to be. I think that the Xbox tax like kind of played into that pre-layoff like hype
Mhm.
train that people were trying to build. I don't think
Yeah.
that this did anything to shield Sony from what they did. And I actually am optimistic about Xbox going forward. They've launched one of the best games, if not the best game so far this year in Forza. Call of Duty is
Mhm.
shaping up to be really good. Gears Eday shaping up to be really good. Fable's the most wishlisted game on Steam next to Light No Fire. Backwards compatibility, platinum trophies. Like it's they're going to be at Gamescom. They're going to be
And
at Tokyo Game Show.
interestingly enough, Halo Campaign Evolved was a mixed launch. Let's call it. Let's call it like that. But because when was that being developed? When was that green lit? What was who did that?
Do you think Asha
Previous
agree? Do
regime.
you think Asha makes Campaign Evolved? She might do the
No.
remaster, but it's not coming to
Mhm.
PlayStation.
Yeah. Mhm.
Not that they even bought it anyway, but that's we don't have to get
Exactly.
into that. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's the Xbox layoffs. I was really worried about this. This also happened when I was on vacation, and we knew it was going to happen. We alluded to it a little bit on the last episode we
Because
did.
we knew that letter had already come out. Because remember, they put out the letter that they were gonna reset the business literally post showcase. It was like
Yeah,
because it was like because everyone was like, God damn it, another like you had a great showcase that I thought is still probably my least favorite of the last four. It's still a good showcase, but I was like, you had a good showcase, and then you immediately like torpedo all the goodwill by showing that you're nuking everything by
and
all
you
that.
know
But it's
what?
like,
I feel a bit
and
vindicated.
in hindsight, it's like, hey, it's like considering how everything was handled afterwards and considering everything that kind of happened, they kind of lucked out in a way because it's like it was a smart manage. And also the thing that happened now that didn't happen before, we were not being BS'd about the health of the business
Yeah,
because we kept seeing things were not good looking good, but they kept gaslighting us, be like, don't you worry, we're making all the money. Don't you
yeah.
worry, we're making all the money. So
I
that is
Yeah, no, I hated that memo from
Mhm.
Phil. But I do feel a little vindicated because I remember making the call to not talk about it too much on that show
Mhm.
because we didn't know what it was going to be like. We didn't know how big it was going to be, how bad it was going to be, and it ended up
Yeah.
being bad.
And it was still bad. It's still
It's still
bad.
bad,
Mhm.
but it's nothing like it wasn't the nuke we were promised. Sony
Exactly.
delivered that.
It was a 5 out of 10 instead of a 1 out of 10. Let's put it
Yeah,
that way. Still bad, but it's like in comparison to other things, and then seeing the moves that they've continued to try to make, even going forward, is like we still have to see. Like they have the other 1,600 layups to kind of like dangling on top of it. I do feel like what happened with it, and especially I don't know if you saw the a current employee right now that's kind of
yeah,
blasting.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like
agree with that interview. I don't think that was a wise decision, but
exactly. I'm like, especially for an employee that's still there, it's like, yeah, that's a
it's
you cannot put the PR statement and be like, don't you worry, despite the big deep cuts were like the size of Doom 2016, we can still make games and have one of your main guys that remain there be like, what are we talking about? It's like that's not the way. It's like, yeah, it's like it makes me worry that that's one that they looked at the spreadsheet and sliced too much without really thinking much when they were trying to make these
I
cuts.
will say
But
in relation to that podcast or that interview, I can't remember the guy's name, but I do think, and if Asha, if you're listening, I do think
mhm,
that if there are people at these studios, especially the ones that are affected by layoffs,
mhm,
and they're saying that they don't have clarity in terms of like what their metrics that they need to hit are or how Game Pass affects those metrics and like what is success and what's not success like financially speaking for their games, then they need to have that same clarity. Like clarity is kindness is one of the
mhm.
10 commandments of Xbox. And I
Clarity is why we don't hate your guts for killing 1,600 jobs like you
Yes,
did.
I think that they're
Exactly.
doing a
So.
good job with clarity is kindness in terms of the audience. But if there are develop, because that was like the one thing he said that I was like, yeah, that does suck. Where he
Mhm,
went into how they didn't really understand the gravity of what was happening with Dark Ages in terms of its performance, because all that
mhm.
gets projected is like how many players or most played Doom launch ever or whatever, and they don't know how
Yeah.
that translates, and that's something that she needs to fix. But again, she's
Mhm.
still not even a year in, so
And that's something that I feel that could be a topic for another show. I'm still of the mind that I feel like that Game Pass at this point is a band-aid that is slowly gonna be peeled.
I don't think
I do
so.
feel that, yeah, I feel it will. Like I do feel, especially with the whole money, with the money situation, all that. Like I feel that's something that they're gonna take. Like, mark my words, Elder Scrolls 6 is not gonna launch there. I'm staking my bet on it.
We'll see.
They're gonna they're gonna use Modern Warfare 4 like them taking Call of Duty back. Like out of service, you're gonna see a huge resurgence of sales, and they're gonna be like, "That's the model because we need to start making money." Like the bigger stuff is probably gonna be out, and then the middle tier stuff is probably gonna remain there. But I do feel that in this moment right now that they gotta start making money. Purchases is like how you make the money, I'd say. But don't kill Game Pass. I feel Game Pass as a middle tier like service where you can have like as a spotlight for indies, like a boutique like collection of games, can still be one that can make games like be like have their exposure, be there back together. It's like it is the low buy-in to like try different games and all that. I feel like that's the like sustainable, especially right now that they're trying to rebuild like what they're doing, that they lost so much money because they spent so much. I do feel it's gonna like they're gonna peel that off for a little while as they raise everything. But I just feel like the super expensive like AAA game that costs so much like has a future there. Like unless everything enjoys what happened with Forza. I know you're gonna mention how Forza was able to solve all of that while being on Game Pass. That was the exception to the rule.
I
I would
think
say like,
that
I'm hoping Gears is the one that shows us that this can sell a lot while still launching in the service. If we don't get more of that, I still stand by that thing. That's gonna be a band-aid that's going to be peeled from at least for the first party stuff. They're not going to eliminate Game Pass. I feel Game Pass still stays as a service. I just feel the focus of what's going to be in that service is going to move more towards boutique, the cheaper stuff that the ROI could be easier than 300 $400 million budgeted games. So
I think that there's so many people that are subscribed to Game Pass, like 30 million or whatever it is, but there's so
mhm.
many of those people that when they're like uh positioned with like, oh, here's the next Elder Scrolls game. Yes, it's coming. How did he get in? It's literally
Yeah.
locked. There's like,
Always love the cameo. Hi, Cat.
oh my god, they're positioned with this. They're paying a pretty high like amount per month. Like Game Pass, I don't know what the US translation is, but I pay like, I think it's like,
$23 right now.
yeah, I'm paying like close to $30 a month for Game Pass. And then they're like, okay, here's Elder Scrolls. You can play it 5 days early for an extra $50 to upgrade to the deluxe
Mhm.
edition. So many people are paying that. And I remember when Starfield came out, like, oh, only sold 5 million copies. There's probably like 6 million
I
people
paid.
that
I
paid
paid.
40,
I played
50.
5 days.
Yeah. So, okay, that's like an extra
It
two,
was
three
30. That
million.
was $30. That was a $30 upgrade for that one because I paid it. So I played it for 5 days early.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. And I don't know. And like Forza was like expensive. I think it was like $50. A lot of people paid that.
Mhm.
Gears has one. I'm paying for that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It could be a topic for another day. I think that
Yeah, there's
TLDR.
more nuance. Yeah, it's there's more. That's why I said like that's more. There's more nuances because there's different ways to like tackle it. But I do feel the current model right now, like I feel it's gonna be a slow bandit. The Call of Duty removal to me was like that's gonna be their justification, even though we know kind of like you cannot use Call of Duty as the full example because it's Call of Duty.
It's
But
the
they
biggest
mentioned how
game
much
in
money.
the, it's like the
Mhm,
biggest game in the world. Like
exactly.
it's definitely the biggest annualized game in history. So
Yeah, GTA is gonna like cream it this year, but it's like it usually does. Like the few times that Rockstar releases, like it happened with GTA 5 and Red Dead,
yeah,
those were like the biggest sellers. But it's just more like knowing that that was specifically mentioned in the reset when they're like, we bet on Game Pass and all of these things that didn't pan out when it didn't pan out. That's why I was like, yeah, I can imagine that's gonna be like some of the changes. And Game Pass is something that weirdly enough, since the change of the downward in price, not a peep. Has not been mentioned. Have you noticed? Has not come out in conversation like in plans and all that. That's why I'm like a little sus, and I'm enjoying it as much as I can because The real good games are coming out this year in it. So, but
Yeah,
it's just more observation, understanding what they said of like wanting the business to get back up after all they've invested. That's why I'm like, yeah, it's like I feel that's gonna be the one that they're gonna have to train a lot of people, because I know a lot of people are so used to it. Yeah, we bought this because you promised us the first parties, and but that's why I'm like I want to wait it for another time, because it's all about budgeting and all of that, and
yeah.
we're running time.
I think
So
that the games that just yeah, we're not going to stay on this, but I think that the games that they are making, they just were not selling. Like that's the
mhm,
big problem. It's not that Game Pass was cannibalizing sales. It's just they weren't
mhm,
selling. There's so many
yeah,
people on Steam that are never going to subscribe to Game Pass and they don't buy these
mhm,
games because they don't sell. Outer Worlds 2, they didn't buy it. Avowed, they didn't
mhm.
buy it. Hellblade 2, they didn't buy it. So like
South of Midnight didn't buy it
but they're
either. So
gonna
it's like,
buy Fallout 5. They're gonna buy the Josh
mhm,
Sawyer Fallout game. They're gonna buy those remasters. They're gonna buy Call of Duty. They're gonna buy Elder Scrolls. Like that's the shift that they're making. But anyways,
mhm,
but yeah, that kind of rounds it up. TLDR. I think that Sony's making a mistake. I don't think it's a death blow, but it is a mistake. I think that the Xbox layoffs, sorry, were bad, but nowhere near what people said they would be. And I do think that Xbox is positioned for
yeah,
success right now, although it's hard to predict the future.
yeah.
Um,
And let's cross fingers that the next cuts don't like make us change our tune as we
yeah,
keep on
I
going
mean,
through like
technically
through the
anything
year.
could happen. I suspect it
Mhm.
will be internal roles, but we'll see.
They touch Blizzard, I'll riot, because it's like, man, it's like that's a bad look. If you have your top performer and you're still cutting them, it's like, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it depends on the extent. If there's a few things that are just like trimming a little bit that doesn't maybe there's some blow, I don't know. But if they're like, yeah,
Mhm.
we're killing like the Warcraft
Heroes of
team
the
or
Storm, the secret heroes of the Storm team that
yeah,
wanted to bring it back.
we're canceling StarCraft 3 and killing that. Yeah, don't do that. But anyways, let's round off. We're at 2 hours
Mhm,
now. Let's just quickly go through what we're playing. I'll start. I'm not going to talk about Gears. We already did that.
mhm,
Um, I'm playing a game I can't talk about. That I think I can talk about. Like, I actually forget. By Gamescom, I'll be able to
mhm,
talk about
yeah,
it. But I've been playing a lot of that. And with this is not just this week, but this is kind of just in the last 2 months. I've been feeling way more nostalgic after like the physical games are getting killed, and like I'm trying to hold on to the past a little bit. So I like obviously Campaign Evolved I've been playing, which is not a old game necessarily, but
mhm.
it's a remake of an old game. But I
Have you
started,
beat it?
yeah, oh yeah. I don't have the
Mhm,
achievement because it was busted, but I did beat it. Um, I've been playing StarCraft 2 campaign, trying to get back into real-time strategy games. That's a game that's I built my first PC for that game, which has been pretty good. I've been playing League of Legends Classic, which just launched
mhm.
recently, which has been really fun.
I've been
Uh,
watching streams of that. It's interesting. I've never been to Libya. I heard that he was launched. I was like, why is this suddenly a big thing? And I've been like lurking on some streams
yeah, it's not
on
the
that.
same as WoW. Like I liked World of Warcraft, and when WoW Classic came out, I liked that so much more. I only want to play WoW Classic.
I have also learned that rope is so associated with League of Legends. It's so funny. Everyone telling to rope each other.
Yeah.
So-
League is yeah.
it's so toxic.
I think League of Legends is a fun experiment. I'm excited to watch it grow because it's going to be kind of like a OSRS splintered
Mm,
universe. But it's not really capturing like the era specifically when I started. It's like a little bit too early. So I don't have as much nostalgia, but it is really fun because it is it totally changes the game. I do think I prefer modern to the current implementation of classic, but it is kind of fun to go back. A new game
mm,
that I have been trying out though is Mistfall Hunter. I think this is really
mm.
cool. Ever since this is not a Destiny like, but ever since Destiny came out, and you had this idea where there's a social hub and you go out on missions in groups of 3 and there's different classes, and the combat's like really snappy and really fun. I always wondered what a fantasy version of this would feel like, and this is that but in an extraction shooter's body.
Yeah, it's
Not
like an
shooter, but
extraction
yeah.
soul sea, like even like some of the flow of the combat. Even though it's a Souls like without sprint and lock on, I would say.
Yeah, the lock on, no, lock on is actually awesome. I can't see them making a Souls game without it, but I think if they were able to disable it for PvP in Souls game, I think that would be awesome
Mhm.
because it just adds like to the skill gap for PvP specifically, which obviously there's a lot of PvP in this game. Progression system is nuts. It makes arc raiders look like you're coloring with crayons.
Mhm.
There's so much depth to how you can build your character and items that you can acquire, and like the meta progression is like huge. The graphics are great. It runs really good on my PC at least. I don't know what it's like on console. But that's been like pretty fun. It's on Game
Yeah,
Pass, but
I played it on Xbox and Game Pass. It looks like initially it looked like shit because I was running it on the performance mode, but somehow in the graphics mode, I was running it at 60. I was like, weird, and this looks better. Like it was
oh
like
nice.
so strange. Yeah, so it's like so they had unlocked frame rate, cool, and it was like mostly hovering up there, so I didn't like notice any like dips when playing it. So it plays going console. Mistfall Hunter, I played at SGF last year, and I hated what I played so much. I didn't even write about it because I didn't want to decimate the developer how much I hated like what was there in 2025. They did a lot of work from what I played in 2025 and how unfinished it felt. And also, why did they make me play with MNK? This is a remote. This is a game you play with remote. Like you
Yeah.
have to play this with controller. They had us play with MNK. I was like, you idiots! You don't do this kind of game like this. Like it was like I was it was a struggle, boss. But like in controller, I really got to I got a good feel for it, and I do love the progression hook. I feel like that's like so important in this kind of game where like there's a chance you're gonna get your teeth kicked in by an invade, like another player like duking you like after you finish the boss and like losing all your loot and all that. I feel like that's it had that kind of hook that had me coming back for a little bit as I was playing before I moved on to other stuff. So it's a really cool idea. It's like I love like just that idea of someone be like, what if it do the perspective of Souls like, but it's an extraction game.
Yep.
Just much it together. It's like,
And
heck
if
yeah.
you don't have Game Pass, it's only like $20, I think. So it's not like it's like a full
Yeah,
price game
this
either.
yeah, the sale's over, but it was like 22.99 if you got it like on sale, if you were subscribed either to Game Pass or PS Plus.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would 100% recommend it for sure.
mhm,
There's some other things. I got a new graphics card, so I'm like dabbling in a
mhm.
bunch of stuff. Like I tried the demo for Pragmata, and I can run it like full ultra settings,
Dude,
no upscaling,
the lighting on that thing must look insane right now with like without the upscaling. I can
yeah, no
imagine.
upscaling, full like full power, full like 120 FPS at 1440p OLED. Like it- I wish there was a demo for Requiem. I could try that. I put it on
Mhm.
RE Village and
Wait, there's I thought they put out one recently, or is it
uh
not?
oh, you know what? Sometimes on Steam they kind of like hide the demo button, so maybe I just
Yeah,
missed it.
because I could have because I think I remember they put something like they put a demo like because it wasn't a launch demo. I think they put it out later. You should look it up.
Oh yeah, there is one. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
downloading the demo now.
Yeah,
We'll play that.
yeah. I saw it running on my brother's 5070. Requiem is, and here's the thing, like, again, like how much this year sucks. Like both of these games were great pro showcases, and I'm like, now I can't even recommend the pro now because either it's like $900 right now, and why would you with with this with Sony Gate right now? But Pragmata was
Yeah.
great on pro. I'm glad I played it there.
Yeah.
So
What about you? What are you playing?
so I did Halo Campaign Evolved. I played it all in. I played it all on stream that and also the three missions. I enjoyed it though the heroic difficulty. I'm glad that people confirmed because I thought I was going crazy. I was like, I don't remember there being that many elites through the reconciliation when I'm trying to escape with keys. There were a few points where I was like, they really like up the enemy density of this thing. I feel like it just kills a lot of the flow of the levels, and it annoyed me fighting some of the hunters now that they eliminated the one hit kill of the Magnum that was there in the original CE. And I remember talking with Pierre Hands about it. They said that they really wanted to like bring a bigger challenge to emphasize you trying to hit all the weak spots on like the kneecaps and all that. I do feel a lot of the times where the hunters appear in the campaign are clearly not meant for you to constantly have it to be aiming at weak spots without like moving to their back and getting them done. It's like I feel that really hurt a lot of the flow of some of the levels, but visually, I think it looked great despite some of the Unreal Engine 5 wankiness that I saw in the Xbox version with like some something in reflections, like the ray tracing, something starts looking grimy with like lower resolution. That's not a problem if you play on like a PC. I played on Xbox, and I do love what they did with the library level because it's like there's a little, at least there's more variety in what you do, because that was a level where you're just following Guilty Spark and just shooting, just killing everyone. And I just say by the time I got to the keys penultimate level, I started noticing that checkpointing had become more enemy kill dependent than level dependent. That I don't know if you've noticed that it's like it feels like the checkpoint triggers if you kill a certain amount of enemies instead of like reaching a specific point in the level. And I thought I was like, is this what they're trying to do to hold you off from the fact that you can sprint now, so you don't just dead sprint? Because I kept getting killed and still I spawned away. I was like, God damn, I have to do it in that part where the enemies are fighting each other. You're trying to get back to the ship. I was like,
Yeah.
interesting design curves. But I feel overall it was decent. Like for a game that I didn't feel was really necessary. And I still believe the reason why they did this was because the previous regime was like, we're putting this on PlayStation. Let's give them
100%. 100%.
let's
Yeah.
give them a shiny new thing. And it's like you can definitely feel that even with some of the changes, like making Cortana even chattier, like in a very like PlayStation first party kind of way, where
Yeah.
she's chatting more, telling you more. I was like, I don't remember you explaining this when I played like CE, like, and I played CE, like I play CE every year. I like going through that campaign. Like it's such a cool. Yeah, let me just put a podcast and just blast through it because they're such a fun.
Yeah.
Those games are just fun to play. So it's like those weird little quirks. I was like, And the three prequel missions, I wasn't a huge fan of. I thought they were okay. I just felt they were written weird, and I wasn't sure about some of the gameplay that they were playing. Like the whole thing. I don't know, do you play the prequel missions with the brutes and like people? I think it was Logan. I think it was Captain Logan from XP he felt they were like Destiny Strikes, and I'm like, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Like the flow of these missions feel like Destiny Strikes, and I'm like, that's just not a cool Halo. Like, that's not a cool feel for what I like out of a Halo campaign level. That can feel a little bit more dynamic than a strike where you're holding on and having enemies kind of come in. It's like if that was supposed to be a preview of what they're probably working on Halo, now that we know that things are get out cat your own video. Like if that was
Eating
kind of like a
plastic.
little taste of, yeah, if those are like little teases of what could be the future of what they're working on in Halo, I don't feel like those three missions make such a great like look, this is the great thing that we're working on. They just felt like half worked, but I won't call them half baked. But I could take away like I could play this thing again and never touch those three missions again, which I was like,
Yeah, I
it's
thought they're okay.
mhm,
I think they were not lying when they said that the origin of this game was to get used to Unreal Engine. It was like an internal project, but I do think that the decision to like bring in that abstraction studios and help have all these contractors like co-develop
mhm,
this to get it to be a actual product that they can release. The intention of that was what can we do for PlayStation? It was not
mhm,
what's the thing that Xbox gamers would want the most from us right now. That's not the decision. So I do think origins wise they were testing Unreal if it was viable or not,
mhm.
and then yeah, the past regime was like let's make this a place, let's make
Yeah.
this the entry point for PlayStation gamers. But
Now to eat a little crow, because I was worried about the move to Unreal Engine 5 with game feel. I would say the game feel mostly felt right. I know Ames was mentioning that he did feel a little bit of a delay that wasn't there, and I remember talking with Pierre Hintz about that because I tell you the delay was worse when I played this thing back in June at FanFest. I was worried. I was like, I know how Halo feels. This feels wrong. And I told him, and he told me, don't worry, it's the minors, but we're still trying to work on tweaking the thing. It's like I feel they've got it as close to right as you can possibly get it, considering this is not like the engine that Halo's been built. It's like obviously this weird like mishmash of Blam being like the Halo Reach Blam version of the engine on top of Unreal Engine 5. So it's like I think it mostly worked out, and I would like to see like what now a fully built game is whenever that happens. When all like it seems like things are on fire over there, cancel like multiplayer games and all that, like weird reports about like where's the next like I feel bad for you guys that are like the more like super deep Halo fan because like I hate feeling that such a revered franchise is in such a state of unknown because it's like
Yeah, it should
we
never
should have
happen.
we yeah, it's like that is like messing up a Mario. That's like messing up a God, like a God. It's like it deserves like the treatment. The fact that I mean, Asha mentioned he's like that was one of the three franchises she wants to double down. That's why I'm like, I wonder if she's gonna come in with the hammer, like with a hammer of dawn, be like, what are we doing here with this studio? Because we gotta fix this because this cannot happen. So I feel like if it was my choice, if people were asking me like a should I play Campaign Evolved or Master Chief Collection, the
MCC.
only reason I would say MCC because the whole thing is there, and I feel there's just such a purity to the original design in that game that I feel like Campaign Evolved is a neat alternate way to look at it, but it definitely like I just feel like it doesn't represent Halo at its best, because it's like I much rather play in heroic the original version of the campaign as it was properly tuned. Like I feel there's just a charm to that original design that is not quite there to a campaign at all. But I'm not mad that I played it. It's like it's there. Like PlayStation fans, I didn't play it on PlayStation. You guys enjoyed it there. It's probably the last one you're getting because now there's a new regime in place. Like
Yeah, I
so,
mean, I thought it was good too. I thought it felt like Halo, which is the thing I was the
mm,
most worried about. The sound design was awful. I think that they should definitely scrap that.
dude, I get sniped by things that I could barely hear. I was like, how did I get killed?
Or
I was
I
like, what
shouldn't
the
even say I shouldn't say
fuck?
sound design. I didn't mean it like that. Like the sound effects of the guns was probably
Mhm,
my biggest problem. Um, but yeah, I echo a lot what you said. I would much rather see the future of
mhm,
Halo, like a new entry in mainline Halo. Uh, I don't think that this took that much away from that
mhm.
inevitability because a lot of this was done by contractors. But yeah, it sucks that there's this unknown, and we are supposed to see it at Halo Fest in the fall or see something, but then there's other
I would take the
reports.
multiplayer. Like I hated that there was nothing multiplayer here besides the co-op and remixing the campaign. It's like the
Yeah.
Halo PvP is so important to Halo. It's like is the thing I love Infinite the most. I would say I have my thoughts of the campaign that are more the unfulfilled promises rather than actually how good it was playing it. But it's like PvP is so important. The fact that they decided to launch this without it, especially when you're sending it the other platforms, is like not even the best. You made the whole thing of trying to take your golden goose to send it over. You didn't even send it over in in your best way. It almost felt like a self sabotage. But
Yeah.
other things quick that I played because I played them on stream. Beast of Reincarnation, which came out last week. That was an interesting first day playing that thing because I played the Xbox version. Holy, you were there. You were in my stream. That thing was broken in
Yeah.
the performance mode. But credit to them, they patched it and it ran so much better. And I ended up getting the PS5 version because I wanted to see the PS5 Pro enhanced mode. That's always got to be my catnip. If I know that there's like enhancements, I want to see them. Let me tell you, people, stay with the Xbox version. That Pro Enhancement mode,
Really.
it's a lie. I see nothing of difference. I shit you not, I see nothing of there. The only thing that I much prefer is I prefer the PS4, the PS5 controller L1 for pairing. It just feels nicer for me than the LB. It's bigger. Like I feel like I got the parries even better there. But beyond that, like if you're fine playing with the Xbox controller, stay on the Series X version. Like I was even waiting for Digital Foundry to play, but I was like, I feel like I'm going crazy. It's like I don't see a difference, like at all. Like, why does this brand have? What a surprise! Is freaking Game Freak. They don't know how to make games, but that's such a fascinating game because I like the combat a lot. It has a really nice feel to it because I don't feel it's that hard. It has a nice vibe. I feel it's definitely like beneath the difficulty of like a Stellar Blade. I would say I do like the aesthetic of this game slightly more than Stellar Blade because I got bored of the deserty area that dominates a lot of Stellar Blade.
That's when I
Stellar
stopped
Blade got
playing.
because it was like it just gets visually boring. Later on, it gets visually more interesting, but you have to like play through have the game together. And I feel that post apocalyptic near vibes that overgrown that's in Beast of Reincarnation is just more my speed. So I enjoyed that. The story though, Jesus Christ. Holy dude, like I have tolerance for ponderous stories. This is another level. And it's even worse because the English voice acting is so bad. It's like it's so bad that the default is Japanese with English subtitles. Stay that way, keep it that way. In Japanese, much better game. Story seems like I don't really know exactly what I'm really fighting for beyond the whole thing of like there's this beast of reincarnation in the main city, go kill this beast and then go there. It's like it's so very like unmotivated. Let's say it's already you go through the motions, and it's more about like getting carried by the vibe. And the vibe I do like the music. I like the music so much that I now have those like tracks saved for whenever I go live on my stream. I like that kind of like chill vibe, like it's gonna play. Hopefully I don't get copyright strike there. But it's like I think it has a really nice music, and some of the visual style at times can be really cool, especially with some of the monsters. But it is a very okay to decent game. It's like if you're interested in at least a new IP, and also I have to kind of like address the fact that the thing that initially impressed me was that it was Game Freak that made it. Now I learned that they didn't make it, that a lot of it was outsourced and they were just producing. I'm like, even the thing that I wanted to praise you guys, I can't anymore because you didn't even make the damn thing. Now this tells me that you don't even know how to make games. You have to like outsource it to someone else. I want to credit the outsource because at least I know you know how to do good combat. Um, and Marvel Tokens Fighting Soul. I played it briefly. I got it with my buddy Paul. Like we played a couple matches. That is such an excellent fighting game. The fighting engine of that game is so nice. It's so crisp. It's so uh
Unless you're on PC.
it's so, yeah, except on your PC. Apparently, the patch is already out that kind of fixed it. I'm gonna check the Maximilian dude because that's the thing. Like the PC version was so bad that your Premiere fighting and content creator literally had to uninstall it on his stream in front of everyone because that's how bad it was. And he switched to PS5. Like that game on PS5 actually works really well. Great job, Sony. Like you make this PS5 PC push and your PC port is worked. Great job there. But like at least on PS5 it worked well. Works well on both base and pro. Like I don't even know what the pro does to this game even. Like it's such a sharp because of the visual style is so sharp looking. It runs so well. Like the way you can combine and mix and match like the four different heroes at times is like there's just a nice feel of pandemonium that you can get like with endlessly chaining combos that reminds you of NBC 2. Maybe not as chaotic as NBC, but something close that still gives this game its own identity because obviously NBC was three is was 2v2 tag. I don't even remember. I haven't played NBC in a while, but the fact that it's like the 4 players is like it's such a cool game to look at. And I'm hoping they fix general matchmaking to just kind of like match on people and play because that was kind of like borked for a little while. But if you were to do like a lobby area where you're playing as a chibi version of the character and sit in a sit in an arcade and wait for someone similar to like Tekken 8, you could like get matches no problem, and the netcode worked well. So it's like just tiny little issues, but overall, I would say it's a really strong like Marvel fighting game. For there hasn't been a Marvel fighting game in 9 years since Infinite. So and the re-releases that happened of NBC 2 and all of those 2 years ago. So I would say solid entry. Too
Yeah.
bad it's polished by a company that drained a lot of the goodwill. So it's like I have to temper it with like I have to temper my excitement of this game kind of like publicly with like, yeah, I understand like physical problems and all that, but it's a great game. Art system work did really good. It's like just unfortunate that it's the first sacrificial lamb. Let's see how it sells. So
Yeah, I mean, well, the Steam numbers were not crazy. Like, I think the Gears beta almost had more people than it, the closed beta.
mhm.
But I played the demo before all of this, and I thought it was fun. I'm not a huge fighting game player, but I actually had it pre-ordered, and I was going to buy it just to own it. I did not buy it, so
Yeah.
I never played the full version yet. But yeah, I know I do kind of not love that more and more Marvel games seem to be staying exclusive to PlayStation. I think that superheroes, and I felt like this ever since Marvel's Avengers, I feel like superheroes are such a universally loved thing. It's kind of shitty
Mhm.
that at least it's on PC, and it probably wouldn't run well on Switch too. So I guess it's really just Xbox that's getting screwed over here.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I mean, this you were right calling it the first sacrificial lamb because this is the first game I didn't buy that Sony made since this. That's
And I
first
bet a lot
party.
of people are like that, and it's a great one. And that's the thing; it's so great. Like if it was like okay, I was be like, yeah, it's like you dodged the bullet, you didn't miss anything. It's like, but some of that seal, like that quality that you usually associate with their games, you can see it there. There's like a panache and cleanness to this one that is like now every game is like everything great that happens like kind of comes with that caveat now, and it's sad. It really is sad because it
Yeah,
really is great, and I hope that it has a healthy player base because it's like this has what I love about fighting games, that it's so easy to pick up and play. It's not so complicated that you're just gonna walk into a quagmire and get completely obliterated. Obviously, you're always gonna get obliterated by the tryhards, but it's what makes it so fun. It's so immediately apparent with its control scheme, and you can quickly just get it. So,
sweet,
so yeah,
cool.
I recommend it.
Anything
And
else?
finally, a game that I'm reviewing that thanks to when this is posting, I can talk about Wild Blue Skies. Uh, this game is actually an indie Star Fox. So it's basically an indie studio that I can imagine the thought process of this game was Star Fox has literally been dead and dormant for 10 years. No one's making it. Let's do it ourselves. And then they did it. They were working on it. They were releasing this year. And what is their luck? Oh, Star Fox came back with a remake, with a shadow drop like announcement of a remake that came out a month that superseded this. So I feel bad for this team that unfortunately, like I understand like where was the spirit of this. It is also I am so fascinated to see the reaction for this game because there is imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and then there is are you wishing to get sued? It is so Star Fox 64
Yeah,
in parts down to some levels and what you do in some of the levels that I'm like, dude, it's like you're tempting fate. You're literally tempting fate. Why are you making the levels with alternate paths? If you do a secret path, in order to get to the secret path, you have to pass through certain things following your thing, just like you do with Falco in the first level of Star Fox. To go to it's like the final boss is literally an Andros like face with hands, even though it's a robot. But it's like it's so clear. I was literally playing it in my living room today. I was showing it to my dad, and he was laughing hysterically because he was like, "Man, this is Star Fox by the way of team." And
yeah,
he was doing it. He was doing it cheekily because, to be fair, the actual visual quality is actually really good because like very cel shaded, cartoony. That's actually the thing that I like the most about it. But it's like some of those things are so blatant that I just fear like that's all people are gonna talk about. But it's like it's actually a really well made Star Fox like it's like down to like the intensity of like the arcade shooting and all of that. It's very short too, but I think it's also gonna be priced accordingly because like it's 13 stages total, but like a run is gonna be like 6 stages. So it's like it's always gonna depend if you do the secret objective in certain levels. Unfortunately, I would say that where this thing misses, where Star Fox don't, is that it doesn't really signpost well what are some of those secret objectives. So sometimes they feel way too obtuse to be able to do all the pathways. There's still one. I've done 11 out of the 13 levels. I still don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do in a level to get to like this other area. But I'm like, I literally done everything. What am I supposed to do here to get here? It's like in Star Fox 64 to get the upper into the upper area. In that level, you have to kill more than 100. That's the goal. I thought I was like, okay, maybe they're copying Star Fox 13. The second level, I'm gonna try to kill everyone. I kill almost 200. I'm like, why am I not going up? What am I missing? Like, what did I miss to go there? So I'm literally gonna wait to hear like how you go there because I was able to do the secret levels of everything else. Sometimes it can be really frustrating because sometimes the movement can be snappy and floaty simultaneously. So you can sometimes get screwed. Like if you start like slowing that, like you pump the brakes, your ship starts floating by itself, and that can really screw you if you're trying to like hit something quickly, but then your ship starts moving by itself. So sometimes like the wonky physics started screwing me over, and that was like ruining a lot of my fun. And the game got much better when I was able to turn on auto shooting, like in the options, because this game makes your basic shooting so weak unless you have kind of like the upgrades that give you like double shooting. And sometimes you can get screwed if you die and in up in opportune time where you have played the rest of the level, you're not getting more of that upgrade, and then it just makes the rest kind of like a slog unless you turn on auto shooting, so that way you're not just constantly tapping and be like, why am I barely making the damage to this boss? This is so annoying. That was happening to me with the final boss until I was like, there's got to be something. It's like, this feels weird. Auto shooting, day. I put it, I was like, yes, there you go. I just have to hold it now. It's just like if it was Contra. But overall, I would say it's like a 7. Like it's like a good facsimile for Star Fox. It flies too close to the sun to the point that it's like people are gonna see it. I bet you I'm gonna see Timo Star Fox
Yeah.
you're gonna see it online. It's like it's just that kind, but it's like to be fair, it's like that's something what I like about indie games where it's like sometimes some franchises are just gone. Just sometimes people are like wanting some games to come back, and sometimes it takes fans or other developers to be like, we'll do it ourselves. And it's very clear that's what it like what this is what this was. And I wish this was revealed like in 2024. I wish it had come out last year because it
Yeah.
sucks that now it has to come out with an actual really great remake of Star Fox. So it's like its big selling point is the fact that this can be played somewhere else too. So it's like Star Fox somewhere else in other platforms. I played on PS5, so it's like Star Fox is still just on Switch. It's still a really good game. Like depending, I want to see what the price is tomorrow. If it's like if it's like $15 to $20, I actually recommend it at the price because it's like Star Fox is $50 and you can beat that game in an hour and 30. Like obviously, it's about score chasing, doing maximizing the runs and doing the different paths and all that. This is definitely less levels than Star Fox, I would say. So I would say like if it launches at the right price, I definitely recommend it if you're still hankering for more Star Fox like ship shoot 'em ups.
Did you know that Star Fox, like the remake, was made by the same team that did that like Midnight Murder Club for PS5?
Yes,
That was such a weird thing that for me, but yeah.
and I learned that they are the former Vicarious Visions group.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's
Yeah, so it was
interesting.
like so it's like that's such a cool because they're such one of the best remake like groups there ever was.
Yeah,
Like
the
what they
Tony
did with
Hawk,
Tony
Diablo.
Hawk
Yeah,
and so it's like I'm glad to hear that a lot of that team after like Blizzard kind of like absorbed a lot of them. Apparently a bunch of them broke off but stayed in New York and gathered together to make that and it when you see that and then you see the quality of Star Fox makes sense. They're great. They're a great visual remake studio. So
cool. Well, sweet. You can check out Alex's review tomorrow or right now if you're listening to
mhm.
this when it comes out. Where else can people find you, Alex? We're gonna wrap up here.
Yeah, they can find me at the Slayer Giant on Twitch and Blue Sky, which is where I usually promote where I go live. And over at the Slayer Giants Discord, that there's a link over in my Twitch where I chat with people there. Like I put I put polls of what games should I play when I'm feeling undecided to see what gauge what people would be interested to watch me play. We share memes there and all that, and also my written content over at seasongaming.com where my beyond Wild Blue Skies. I also have a write up slash review for the Final Fantasy 10/10 2 Switch 2 edition for that game. It's that game, but on Switch 2, I write about kind of like what's better about that version and kind of give my thoughts on that game. We're running close. It's like it's a lot of thoughts. I didn't want to go longer for that one, but I
Yeah.
also played that.
Is
So
it can you just is it 60 FPS?
no, it's still
All
30, but
right.
it looks sharper. Yeah, it's like it looks sharper than the PS4 and Switch version, but the Xbox version is still the best looking one. I would recommend the Switch 2 version better than that because it has quality of life that none of the other versions have.
Cool.
Like 2 times 4 times speed, supercharged mode, like disabling random enemy encounters, things like that. So it's like you can
Interesting.
customize more of that game that can help some of the sloggier parts of the early parts kind of go quicker.
Cool.
So that's why that's the definitive version for
Sweet.
that game. So
Awesome. Well, we are finally back. This has been the Game Positive Podcast, episode 47, 2.5 hours long. Just
we're gonna
before
go short, right?
it's 2:30 in the morning for me. I have to work very soon. I'm very tired.
11:20 for me.
Right quick, just looked at the build was updated for the Gears beta on Steam, and somebody sent the .ini file, like the config for the game, and it shows that active reload damage for the Lancer was nerfed by zero point 0.5 and base damage was buffed by 0.5. So it's
That sounds great.
like a
That actually sounds great.
pseudo
Hmm.
buff for that. So
Hmm.
if this might be breaking news if someone reports on it tomorrow, because this is kind of
Yeah,
like in the weeds. But anyways, this has been the
yeah.
Game Positive Podcast. I have to go to bed. Alex probably has some games to play. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to have fun out there, everybody. And you can find Alex's contact information in the comments and all that stuff. We'll talk to you soon.
Next one.
Take care.